guys, fair class. Come on.
What? We're not live.
We are now. All right. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 340. This is Trope Talk, the Mary Sue, the biggest and most confusing of all tropes I've ever read about. So, and you don't know if this is from Overly Sarcastic Productions. I believe we're going to be looking at Red today. She's pretty much the most common person we see on this channel. And this video came out 4 years ago in April. It has almost 2 million views, and it's almost 11 minutes. Oh, it's 10 and a half minutes long, so it's not too bad.
Fortunately enough, it is not a dated topic.
This is a topic which we're going to be going through for the next few years, probably because there's going to be writing by amateurs in the professional realm, and they're not going to know what they're doing. And I've been contemplating going through the list on TV tropes, and I never got around to it because this year has been kind of weird. Now that things are slowly getting back to normal, and my brain can focus again, I'll happily start that video series up talking about the Mary
amateurs. I think amateurs gives these people too much credit.
Well, you know what? I don't mind a person.
More like giving them credit, period.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Honestly, it seems like these people are doing this shit on purpose. This is propaganda. That doesn't happen by accident.
It's a combination of not having enough experience and coming from the realm of amateur fan fiction. And you could argue the person who doesn't have enough experience doesn't know how to write, but how else would they have gotten hired? So there must be something else going on. And the other case is someone knows how to write, but it's all in the realm of fan fiction. And it's just, I guess they assume the producer goes, oh, well, this is what people like, and this guy's been doing it a lot, so therefore it must be good. So there's no understanding of quality and what is a form of entertainment that connects with the audience that is not a bunch of other fan fiction readers and writers. So,
there is the occasional good fan fiction author.
Oh, yeah.
That is a thing that does exist. But the people we see in charge of our media for these past years, they have no actual care for for whatever they're writing for, and nobody who's in charge of these things has any care about authenticity of the thing. That's why they go out of their way when they do live action things. For example, they go out of their way to miscast for certain roles, even if they have access to lookalike actors, for example. They go out of their way to choose someone who just doesn't fit at all.
Yeah. And I know
it's not just incompetence, or it's not just incompetence or lack of availability. We're talking about the core of the industry.
Yeah. They also use they were the best actor for the role, and then you watch them act, and you're like, these aren't the best actors. You could have easily found someone better.
See, this is the great thing about Hollywood, though. We have great PR and HR. We can get the people. We can advertise very well. It's just the scripts themselves. Like, I was really sad about Man of Steel. Like, they had great actors. They were perfect. And
Henry Cavill as Superman is like, he looked the part.
Henry Cavill as Superman. Well. Really good. Was a really good cast.
Yeah. But it's just the fact that Zack Snyder is a psychopath who can't write.
Well, I would say the depiction of Kevin Costner as Jonathan Kent, like, great casting.
Oh!
Russell Crowe, great casting. Like, all these actors are perfect, and it's just the lines and the way they deliver. You're like, whoa. That's sad.
You put those actors with the script from the original Superman. They'd make it work.
Oh my God, yeah, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. But you put it with Man of Steel script, it doesn't work. So what's the problem? Well, it's not the actors, it's the script, and that's why I always say it's like, just if they remake something and it goes wrong, think of what the actors would do with the original script, and if you go, they do okay. But it's obviously the new script that's not worked. And that's how I always think of it.
The script is
So,
the thing that is the least invested in for I don't know,
so
10, 20 years now.
Yeah, so it's like, when people always bring up, obviously we're going back to Batman v Superman. People bring up about the fact that in Batman 89, Batman kills people. It's like, okay, that's fine. You put Ben Affleck as an actor into Batman 89 and, move certain people over. It could probably still work with with his style and everything. But you brought Michael Keaton and them lot over to BVS, it wouldn't work because it'd still be the same script and it just wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I see it and everything. You've got to look at actors can only do as much as what the script allows them to do.
Yeah. So I
know certain ones are shitty actors anyway, but even shitty actors can have good days.
So it's two main issues that both are rooted in the decision making, which is either bad casting, deliberately bad casting, or a bad script.
And this is when we talk about the Mary Sue, because they are sort of the biggest part of that script that causes it to everything revolve around to fall apart. So it's more than just
script distorting singularities.
It's more than just bad writing. It's just this whole other mentality when you think about writing and then you get about to doing it and you're like, I'm going to make a character who's awesome. You're like, why? Why would you?
I'm going to have to stop you there. As a YouTube comment on one of our last videos on the Star Trek canon thing, we got called smooth brains by a YouTuber.
Really?
Or a YouTube comment. Yeah, we got called smooth brains because we care about canon. And it's just the fact that modern writers have moved past canon and, interesting plot. And it's all about creativity and feelings.
None of that is creative. If you... That is the stupidest projection of idiocy I've ever heard.
Okay, well, let's
seriously, if you can't get your internal consistency, your internal logic of your story right, that's not a amazing, modern, intelligent thing to do. That just shows that you're an idiot who can't write. You can't get basic arithmetic right.
That is based off an existing story, like something that came prior, or you could say they're doing a reboot, like Man of Steel is essentially a reinvention of Superman. For that example,
so you can do like Warhammer and just
you can adapt things to screen or vice versa from books or what have you, and you can change things. That's fine. But there has to be good reason and it has to make sense within the format because you can't otherwise produce the thing. Like, okay, we can't have a guy flying in the sky. We don't have enough technology. We don't have the rig. We don't have all this stuff. Like, imagine trying to do that without CGI or without practical effects. So maybe he just jumps really high, Superman, right? So there's lots of concessions you have to make within your budget and within the capacity of the character. The problem is, you can't use that license unless you're given freedom to do so. So if you take Sherlock Holmes, everyone's free to reinvent the wheel with him.
Yeah.
But then it's
Smud, I've just posted the YouTube comment in the Discord chat. Yeah, so if you want to have a look at it, have a read.
I wanted to ask you.
That guy.
People today value creativity and originality over blindly following established structures. Get fucked. Why is everything a reboot and a remake then, you fucking idiot?
I just had to laugh about Smud's comments. That guy.
There's only the line of you have no imagination, so you need the same old stories told over and over again because new things are scary and nostalgia is safe.
You mean how all these black superheroes are getting the same name and abilities of previously established white characters?
Furthermore, what of these bullshit rip-offs is new? What of those stories that SJWs make is new? Because they are really telling the same story every time. Because the story of the Mary Sue is one story. That's one single story that always goes the same.
West,
she's perfect, and that's the end of it.
I'm just going to interrupt you with saying that original story of Force Awakens, which is in no way a rip-off of A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure,
Yes.
it's not. Sure, whatever you
Yeah.
say.
Exactly.
And we do want, and yeah, and if we just say in the realm of Star Wars, the non SJW faction in the making of it is trying to tell new things. The Bad Batch is a wonderful example of that.
Yeah, but I burned out of Star Wars, so yeah.
Bad Batch is
Yeah.
good, though.
It's I wouldn't say it's anything super special. It is just something that surprisingly enough, for once, from the house of Favreau and Filoni, doesn't make stupid nonsense mistakes all the time.
Yeah.
Which is something I'm very glad to finally see, and
Yes,
it's not full of propaganda.
Well, Mandalorian is good, but when it fumbles, my God, you notice.
Yeah.
So if you guys don't know Exile Studios, he's been commenting on my channel for years now, and he's...
Has he?
Oh yeah, I'm a sexist, racist, white nationalist who doesn't care, and my channel should be shut down. So, you know.
Of course it should.
He's an old viewer.
Yeah, he's been around for at least, I can just keep scrolling down. I'm sure he's been around even longer, but you know, it's just, he just doesn't like my channel. I'm like, okay.
I just love the way you went smooth brains. I'm sure I responded. But I assume YouTube deleted my comment because I must have used the R word quite a lot.
Well, he's one of those guys that I don't like. It doesn't really bother me. He doesn't say.
Just don't like.
Just call him Smooth Brain back. That means the same thing. What's he going on here? Smooth Brains like you and Smud can't stand that people now value creativity and originality over blindly following established structures. Like, dude, are you even?
That's how it's always been.
But this comment is literally on the plot of does canon matter. So he's saying that he doesn't care about canon, and so I go, well, okay, if you don't care about canon, nothing that you like that's new or creative matters because it's not in canon. So, I don't have to listen to it. And then he'll go, but you have to because they made. No, don't have to listen to it. Don't even know it even exists. It doesn't exist.
This is the kind of mentality that creates historical historical pieces with race swapping people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, that's going. That's creative. Like, no, you're an idiot.
No.
Yeah.
That's just fan fiction.
The only reason why Rey even exists and is still mentioned in Star Wars is because of canon. So when everyone argues that canon doesn't matter, the only reason why their stupid SJW pieces of wank shit are still even being talked about properly is because we've been told that it's part of canon.
I legitimately hope Mandalorian ultimately scraps the sequel trilogy from canon if that rumor has any kind of truth to it.
I don't even care about the rumors as well.
No, the setup's there, but this is the thing. Then, when assuming benefit of the doubt and all, assuming that's really where it's going, and I hope so after TLJ came out, and without any idea whether that's even possible, but I thought that they could just, or Disney could just make the big decision of it's just not we just act as if the movies never happened. But if the rumors are true, Filoni is working on building justification for the canonization of the Disney bullshit movies.
Unfortunately,
that is the thing that the SJWs will then complain that it will be decanonized because canon does matter to them when it's full of their bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point that I made. Just then, it's like canon matters when it's their stuff.
It's always
canon
hypocrisy.
Canon doesn't matter when it proves their shit wrong, but canon does matter when
canon doesn't matter when they want to rewrite it. Canon does matter when we want to scrap out their random scribblings over our Mona Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're all prepared to talk about the Mary Sue. We've done this for several times a year for several years, and we're all equipped and ready to go. So I don't even need a refresher course. We're good. So
I tell myself I'm equipped and ready to go, but deep down, I don't think I am.
But deep down, you're bracing for the stupidity.
There we go. All right.
Yeah.
Here's Mike Testa. Hey, Mike, how you doing? Smud, that French-Canadian Bast, forgot the Crash Bandicoot Easter egg yesterday's video on Uncharted 4. No, it doesn't matter. You didn't have to mention that. That's fine.
No, it's fine.
I was legitimately waiting for him to say something like, "Oh, it's like Uncharted 4 is not a real game because it's like it thinks it can reference an actual game and get away with it or some stupidity like that."
Yeah, but at the end of the day,
it's a series of mini games, remember?
Just for subhumans.
And one of those mini games is Crash Bandicoot, but that's not a game.
Yeah, the one that put the company on the map in the first place. Sure.
Yeah. At the end of the day, all I know is Uncharted is just for subhumans, but I don't begrudge anybody doing it, even if they are subhumans.
Uncharted is a compilation of mini games. It's not a game.
It's still a game. What's WarioWare?
Well, it's like saying
It's
like saying an anthology book is not a book. You're like, but there's books in it. Like, so what do you? It's published.
It's like saying The Outer Limits wasn't a TV show because it's got different things in each episode.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what? No, it's still a series.
Especially lots of the open world games are collections of mini games. Brutal Legend is a good example of that.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I love Brutal Legend. It is clunky enough, but I like to play because of the art.
I'm trying to think of like a film series that had like different stuff.
That's
Tarantino films. They are
Atlas.
not a
What's that movie called?
They are a compilation of scenes.
Cloud Atlas.
Cloud Atlas, yeah, that's got
Atlas?
different things in it. Yeah,
Okay.
that's not a real movie because it's got 3 different acts in it.
Then there was the one with Robin Williams. I can't remember the name of that, where he plays different characters.
Isn't it the Bicentennial Man, where he's a robot? And he goes through different families.
That's a classic. That's a classic, though. As dumb as some of those moments are, it's still a classic.
Well, what I'm saying is that there's movies, there's books, there's stories on TV that every season's different. Like, that horror. I keep forgetting the name. The horror film that.
Story?
Gothic, American Gothic. Yeah, I think something like that.
Oh yeah, American Horror Story.
American Horror Story. Yeah, so there's lots of formats. There's lots of stories. They use an ensemble cast, so they keep coming back for the next season as different characters, different storylines, different plots.
In particular, I never got the appeal of, to be honest.
Well, it's also like what is it? Sorry, Matthias, go on. Finish what you're going to say.
Saying a compilation of mini games. It's not a game. It's really weird.
This is the sum of its parts is greater. Like, this is the argument. So you have all these disconnected elements, and you're like, what is it? And then you see them as a whole. You're like, oh, I see. This is a party game. You could play them with a friend, and yada yada. That's how it works. It's fun. It's silly.
Yeah.
So
Yes, Mario Party is not a real game.
Yeah.
It's not a real game because it destroys friendships.
Sonic and Mario at the Olympics is not a game because the Olympics isn't a proper sporting event because there's so many different sports. It's just a bunch of mini games.
Yeah,
it's not a real athletic event.
It can be a bad execution of to make such a game. It can be a bad. It can be ham-fisted. It can be shallow. The games can be boring. All of that. So it can be a bad game, but that doesn't make it not a game. I didn't get around to watch the episode. Did that guy ever define what, according to him, makes a game?
Yeah, you're right.
Because even the questionable levels of media scientists, which is not really scientists, at art universities, have functioning definitions of games. So some video essayists with I don't know how many thousands or millions or billions or trillions of views can have at least defined the term.
At least on a fundamental level.
There was no problem in him naming his video off. I don't like Uncharted, and that's okay. But no, plays the real game to page the fans.
All right. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's keep going. Here's
let's go.
here's the Swedish chef, Mare Su. Okay, I know that reference. And we have one donation from Tall Person. Oh, there's a tall person. There you go. Hoy, great to catch one of these live. Before you start the video proper, can I just have your quick definition of Mary Sue? The quick definition is a character who the plot focuses on, whose abilities and skills are unexplained, and everything revolves around. And we see it mostly in fan fiction. There's other definitions, of course. There's flavors of Mary Sue and extensions thereof.
Yeah.
What differentiates the Mary Sue from a competent character? Because those can happen, that you have this random character that is just super competent and always saves the day. Dixon in Xenoblade is a great example of this. He always comes saving the party out of the blue, and well, in the end, there's a reason for it. Well,
that kind of falls more into Deus Ex Machina, not so much Mary Sue.
Yes. But even in that case, there is a reason for it. What I'm trying to get at is the Mary Sue has no sensible explanation for the competence and powers. It is just stated fact. And the Mary Sue is unequivocally, I'm lacking the right word here, no, beloved. And nobody criticizes the Mary Sue. And in order to prove the competence and intelligence of the Mary Sue, the other characters are dumbed down. And this is a natural process. The author isn't deliberately writing other characters dumb. It is just a product of the incompetence of the writer to write the Mary Sue truly smart, because the writer of a Mary Sue is usually not the smartest, him or herself.
I would say...
Because the Mary Sue is a power fantasy.
Yes, I would say if you look at LitDev's original video, I think a year ago, he made... The primary deduction he made was it was the writer... Not a writer on board moment, but it was a writer fulfillment desire. Everything was, if I could be awesome... what would I do? How would that play out? And that's exactly what it is. The writer is inserting themselves into this character as a fantasy, a personal fantasy, a power fantasy, whatever you want to call it. Everything's awesome. They do everything dramatic. Everything's cool. They're come from a special background. They have this special weapon. They have a special gift. They are the chosen golden child. And that's the story.
Yeah. And then you have these special details of being the secret relative of another of a standard character. Those are special things.
Because it's the quality of the writer doing that, I then compare it to actually good writing by writers who do that, because we have the isekai genre where you're transported into another world and everything's alien, but you have amazing powers and you don't know how, and it's learning about that process as opposed to just being awesome.
Yes.
And that's boring.
Yes.
So
and the Mary Sue is instantly capable, and you can write even that in an interesting fashion. Parodies like Overlord go into that vein, because he gets into the world he gets into functions closely to what the game functioned that he was playing and gets there on his maximum level with all his super artifacts. But he has to figure out other things in order to survive that world, because that alone doesn't guarantee his survival. The thing with the Mary Sue is that I would call it a narcissistic project, a narcissistic power fantasy, something that comes from emotional immaturity.
Yes.
That is why.
I agree with that. Yeah.
The world needs to. The world is warping around the Mary Sue.
I would say
because that is where the writing suffers, because the key feature of narcissism or emotional immaturity is a lack of empathy, which means you are unable to put yourself in the shoes of someone else, see the world from that other perspective, and thus write a different character. Like the standard thing a new role-playing member in a tabletop RPG is, and that is not harping on new players. That is just something everyone does with the first character, because you're new to the whole game and concept and everything, is to make a character that pretty much resembles you, but is not necessarily a Mary Sue. And over time, so in your next campaign, you make a new character, and then you got the hang of the role-playing thing, and you make a character that is way more distinct from yourself and from your own interests and how you would play, and you explore this how would this character I made up that has different convictions from myself and different interests and interact with other people. And that is what a mature mind can do, and a mind able for empathy.
Well, okay, that's...
A narcissist, however, will always play him or herself.
I see that as a little gross exaggeration of a writer who just sucks at writing. And you could try and say, well, they're not very mature, obviously, but in what capacity? I would just say they're just not very experienced at writing, and thus they think everything is me. But that's fine. You could have an inexperienced writer, because all writing is egotistical.
Yeah.
All writing, I'm a writer, I want to do this awesome thing, and here I go. And instead of knowing about writing or knowing how to write or reading books to learn about that, they just go, what would be great? I would love to be awesome, and I'm going to be awesome here and awesome there, and it keeps going on and on. And they could empathize, they could be a people person, they could understand other people's feelings, but it still comes down to, I want this.
Writing like an 8-year-old is fine if you're an 8-year-old. Don't get right away at the biggest franchises in the fucking world.
Oh no, that's fine. I'm just saying that I don't think it's a psychological issue. I just think it's a literary problem that they just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And
this makes me very worried about my writing.
I don't see how these are mutually exclusive.
It's a jump to go from bad writing to psychological analysis, I would just say.
Yeah, I'm going to say, because that makes me very worried about my writing, because in the story that I started writing, I'm finishing off now, but obviously COVID, the character that's like closest to me gets killed off. So I'm now worried that there's some deep psychological problems.
No. Now you are the one over-interpreting.
I'm joking.
No, you're the one over-interpreting. There are some clear patterns, and the whole Mary Sue writing, where that comes from, is always the exact same pattern and structure.
Anyway, on the middle of the ground, I think you can have some psychological things, but I think the majority is just unexperienced writers that doesn't know how to write characters.
Yeah.
Or main plots or arcs.
So, and an inexperienced writer or an inexperienced player may play something or write something that resembles yourself, can be a self-insert, but you won't necessarily do that as a Mary Sue self-insert. You can have a self-insert that has flaws, where you do the self-exploratory thing, which is, by the way, where role-playing initially came from, was a psychological tool, and found its way into becoming a widespread game format. And so there's a difference between someone who's just new at the thing and inexperienced, and the one who can't help but do the Mary Sue thing, and will get pissed. We see this in role playing. Will get pissed if that Mary Sue character, because it's a narcissistic personality, because that's completely connected, can't distinguish between the character and him or herself. Like people who cannot distinguish between their work and themselves, and when you critique their work, legitimately critique their work, they are always personally offended as if you attacked them personally. That is an ego problem. That is the same root problem. And so if that character in the game gets damaged or misses a roll, a normal new player will just go, oh, Okay, what happens now? Okay, how do I get out of the situation? Well, that's shit. Oh no, I died. I need to reroll.
Well, I just
the
want to.
immature person will have a rage fit.
I just want to
will
say
have a tantrum.
We have examples of writers who did Mary Sue's, and they're not bad writers, like Gene Roddenberry. So he does episodic storytelling. He's not the greatest writer of Star Trek, but his original concepts were fine. His ideas had to be filtered through other people. So when he got to TNG and he wrote Wesley, and you saw what then happened the first few seasons, you're like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. This Wonder Kid can do anything and solves all the problems. 6 out of 7 problems, I think, he's in an episode. And yes, he's named after Gene. I think his middle name. And he does amazing things, and he has a gift, and he transports himself across the galaxy with the power of whatever. And it's just crazy shit. But
his middle name, really?
Gene Wesley Roddenberry, I think, something like that. Yeah, I think so. That is the example. Gene obviously is a very unique person in the world that we had when he was still in it. And he had some definite psychological issues because, cheating on his wife and marrying another woman and God knows what else he got up to.
Being in the war, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't want to judge Gene as a person because I don't know him, but like he wrote that, and everyone was like, "Holy shit, what do we do? He's the creator." And they were constantly fighting Gene, and that's how we got season 3 finally stabilized.
Thank God they didn't let his original ideas go through, because his original concept for TNG pretty much completely went against the core fundamentals of good writing.
There were episodes which worked. There were episodes that didn't work. So
Well, I mean, at least specifically that he wanted there to be no conflict in the future, and that was a very big, brick wall.
It is a brick wall. You're right.
Finding a way to be creative in writing.
That is a brick wall when you're doing character dramas, especially in an episodic story where there's just the guys we remember from yesterday and the day before aren't going to have fights anymore. And you're like, that's weird. So we just all get along, and we only argue with aliens or the problem at hand. And we have some alien interact with our brains, and therefore when we start acting weird, like, how is Kirk acting weird now? That's not right. He's my best friend, yada, yada. And then we got to figure that out. So yeah, it does sort of remove some mystery and other dramatic elements when you have character dramas. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because there's other great examples of Mary Sue's throughout stories, and that was just like, I don't want to pair that sort of mentality and deduction, because who am I to say what the mental state of Gene Roddenberry was and how he did his job? I'm not, however a writer does their job, however anyone does their job, I don't care. It's up to them. But I'm not going to start making, these weird accusations of having this condition.
No, and in the case of Roddenberry, they did eventually get somewhere with him.
Oh yeah, he had a team
with a true the whole hard personality disorder. That wouldn't have happened. Then you would have only tantrums and everything, and the whole thing would have fallen apart completely. The whole thing with the soul narcissism is not that it's not a hard, clear-cut thing. It is a nuanced thing of development, of emotional development, of emotional and cognitive abilities, and we speak of that if that development at some point, that can be someone who's emotionally stuck at 5 years old, or someone who's emotionally stuck at 15 years old. Big difference, but that lacks some key abilities that were made along the way, and that you can still overcome. You can still make these developmental steps later in life. It is just less and less likely the older you get. So you can have very, very hard cases, which is what we see with a lot of these SJWs, and you can have people that we wouldn't call complete narcissists, just somewhat emotionally immature or a bit flawed, or having some character flaws left over that they still can overcome. That's a wide whole spectrum. That's an actual spectrum. So narcissism is not a binary, if you want to go that route.
All right. Anyway, let's get to the video. We've been rambling on long enough. So let's go. 10 minutes and a half. Here we go.
Alright, what the is a Mary Sue? Seriously, the term gets thrown around all over the goddamn place, but what does it mean? Nobody can agree. Some people say a Mary Sue is any character who's unrealistically heroic and or powerful, but that definition also covers basically every hero, so clearly it's too broad. Sometimes it's restricted to author inserts, but there's nothing stopping a writer from writing a perfectly harmless author avatar into the story. Iconic hero Luke Skywalker has been explicitly confirmed to be heavily based on George Lucas himself, if this didn't already give it away. Mark Hamill.
Luke isn't a Mary Sue.
No.
She's just giving an example.
Yeah, but
I know, but she's given an example.
her setup so far is okay.
Very clearly an example that does not fit all that well with what she's going to argue.
No,
What's
she's
the
not.
What's the opposite of poisoning the well? That's what she's doing for her argument.
No. Right now, all she's doing
okay.
is giving examples of author self-inserts in some way that are not Mary Sue's.
I'm telling you,
Yes,
she's setting up for saying, why is it okay when Luke is a self-insert but not Rey or some shit?
Yeah, but
we'll get to that.
I never said that Rey is a self-insert, though.
Money.
We'll get to that, but so far she hasn't said anything wrong.
Yeah,
that's why I gave myself the provisor. That's why I gave myself the provisor or some shit.
Guys, one at a time.
Yeah, she's just defining the term and she's confused because it is a confusing term and that's totally fine.
Yeah, fair enough. It's like we'll get to that point soon.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I just wanted to point out the fact that the argument of, like what Bear said, it's one of those things where it's a bit like, we've done this argument so many times. I know Luke Skywalker is going to come up as some sort of defense thing. And to be honest with you, it's Red. She never stays on topic with what she actually does, and she doesn't understand tropes anyway. So it's just one of those things where I'm just a bit like, Luke Skywalker is not a Mary Sue. You are right about that. Also, this Luke S and Lucas thing, I mean, that's a bit scraping, but okay, fine, whatever. I was just making a point saying that, in my eyes, he's not one. So, yeah. That's fine.
I don't know if it is.
But she made 100 videos about tropes that get millions of views, so she must be correct on everything.
I've never watched one video of hers where she actually describes what the trope actually is at all, ever. I've sat through what is it now, like 5 hours now of her videos on Smudcast. Still waiting.
Does anyone know whether Red has ever written anything herself?
Not that I know. I think she wrote some books based on mythology, something like that.
Well, that's not creative writing.
All I know now is I said I'm still waiting, and now I've got about some 41 songs stuck in my head, so that's great.
All right, let's go.
Mark on record to say that when he was stumped on how to play a scene, he just default to whatever Lucas would do, and Lucas would love. I mean, Luke is kind of a whiny twerp. It runs in the Skywalker family, but he doesn't feel like a Mary Sue. I mean, to me, I also liked Rey, so maybe my judgment on Star Wars protagonists shouldn't be treated as unbiased. But still, it seems like any established definition
if you conflate these two, you're an
that we don't
idiot.
want it to apply to.
He's right on that, at least.
Right, we're gonna have to pause this woman every time we want to say an opinion because she talks that fast. We're going through like 5 sentences. I mean, they're probably shit, but. Yeah,
the argument she made.
I feel like I'm like the janitor of this fucking Smudcast telling people what to do. I'm so sorry.
Well, the argument she made was that Mark Hamill defaulted to George Lucas, who's the director, and George Lucas
that's fine.
It's like, yeah, that's what actors do. So
actually, yeah. No,
It's almost that the director is there. It's almost that the director is there to direct what people do. On the camera.
Yeah, shit. Oh my god, I didn't even realise that. Shit, Spud, you're right. Yeah, that is exact.
So that's nothing to do with.
That's not author. It's not an author insert. That's the director telling you, yeah, this is how I want the scene to be done.
This is implying that I forgot her name. The actress for Rey didn't got no direction because she's not acting.
She got no directing because it wasn't an author. The author wasn't there. Something out.
She got no programming from her director.
Yeah.
Please move this facial muscle now in that direction. Thank you.
Yeah, close your mouth, please.
No, the only direction
She has
was...
no facial expressions.
Imagine you're a lamp and you're trying to attract moths. Yep, that's it. Keep that mouth open. That's...
Hey, pretend you're in Weinstein's office. Keep your mouth open. Yep, just like that.
God.
All right, let's go.
Unravel the mystery of the movie. Well, we should probably start at the beginning. Let's indulge in a little bit of fandom archaeology and travel all the way back to 1973. Mary Sue was coined as a parody/dissection of this trope in its original form. She was a comically over-the-top self-insert character in a Star Trek fanzine, and I'd summarize, but it'd be easier to just read the first paragraph. Gee golly gosh glorioski, thought Mary Sue as she stepped on the bridge of the Enterprise. Here
Yup.
You actually
It is.
reading a Mary Sue story? Fuck off.
Well, this is normal. Everyone does this. It's fine.
Here I am, the youngest lieutenant in the fleet, only 15 and a half years old. Captain Kirk came up to her. Oh, Lieutenant, I love you madly. Will you come to bed with me? Captain, I am not that kind of girl. You're right, and I respect you for it. Here, take over the ship for a minute while I go get some coffee for us. Mr. Spock came onto the bridge. What are you doing in the command seat, Lieutenant? The captain told me to. Flawlessly logical. I admire your mind. See, at the time, this was a lot of what fanfiction was. People wanted to ride along with all these wacky adventures.
Yeah, and a lot of the characters we have right now even feel exactly like that. Like the whole Star Trek Discovery thing is that in Star Trek. The secret sister of Spock.
Yeah, you
that
could literally just
doesn't look
say
anything like him.
If you had said that was an excerpt from the latest episode of Star Trek Discovery, I would have believed you.
Yeah.
If you said that was Michael, if you said that was Michael Burnham, I said, yeah, that sounds like it. Yeah.
Well, that joke basically describes Discovery in a nutshell. If you think about it.
But here's the thing. You know when people read that fan fiction, they laughed at it and called it crap, and made fun of it.
Yeah.
And fiction made the rules for doing fan fictions for Star Trek.
Yeah, people go to the Mary Sue, that story, as how not to do stories. So the fact that Hollywood is now creating characters worse than what was in that Mary Sue story should be a massive red flag, as in, why they're bad. This is really strange. It's almost like Red's trying to say, well, people did this in the old days and no one made fun of them. It's like, no, everyone made fun of these people.
Yeah.
The entire Mary Sue story was created to make fun of stories like that was happening in the fan magazine.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know Michael Burnham from Discovery, she was the foster sister of Spock, trained in Vulcan mind discipline, and the only human to graduate the Vulcan Science Academy. She's the smartest Starfleet officer anyone ever heard of. She's admired by all until she's hated, and then she's hated by all. But she's still amazing. She
should be.
Yeah, she can kick a Klingon's ass in hand-to-hand combat. She outruns a monster that killed everyone.
She herself started the Klingon Federation war, and then it got so bad that they had to zap Discovery into the future to resolve the war, so that Michael Burnham got no kickback from it, and she was still loved and liked by everyone.
So Burnham also ended the war?
No, she avoided all consequences.
Okay.
Yeah, she avoided the war completely.
She avoided the war. Now is teaching the people from the future how to use fuel.
She even has
that's a good point. Mary Sues tend to not have to face consequences for their actions. Instead, the world warps around them, the plot warps around them, and holy shit, the time travel thing, that is the world warping around the Mary Sue so that the Mary Sue doesn't have to face consequences.
Also remember that when Michael Burnham went to the mirror universe and met her mirror counterpart, the writers, even though they made the mirror counterpart as evil as possible, couldn't make the mirror counterpart more evil than the actual Michael Burnham with stuff.
Yeah.
Mirror universe Michael Burnham is an actual character.
Yeah, but also is actually kind of likable, and you kind of feel that they got the wrong people.
Yep.
That's that's the problem.
There
But
are
again,
other...
the whole mirror universe in Discovery is like you'd rather live in the universe where people kill each other just to like get promotions than live in the Prime universe. So
They did the horrible mirror universe again.
Yeah, so we can list other accolades. We can list other things that the plot just lets her get away with, and no consequences to her act. Like, there's all sorts of things we could talk about. We're not here to do that, but this is what we've got.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that
I think this is
because they like the show. It's exciting. It has lots of explosions and set pieces, and they're entertaining.
I think there's a great accidental exercise there with the mirror universe that shows that these types of writers are so because everywhere they go, they write these Mary Sue characters in their perfection. They can't do wrong because these writers themselves don't understand ethics and morals and all of that stuff. So their characters, because they can get away with everything and everything they do is right by definition, they are written like villains. They're written like horrible people you do not want to cross paths with. And the accidental exercise they did here is, well, do the mirror universe character of this character that is actual evil. And they can't do it because the character is already evil without them having noticed it. I think that's a very nice accidental reveal.
Well, it's why people constantly connect with villains nowadays. Like more and more people are connecting with villains than they are the heroes, because the villains are only villains because they're opposing the heroes in modern stories now. As in, like, they just have different ideologies. Whereas in the old days, like, the villains were like, you know, your Scars, your Jokers, and villainous. Whereas in now, it's just the fact that, they're not completely left-wing and communist. They must be villains. And you're like, wait, what the fuck are you on about here?
It says the fucking villain that wants to align themselves with the most murderous ideology that's ever existed.
Yeah. I mean, no offense, Ray's only not seen as a villain because she does fucking nothing, really.
Yeah.
As in, like, there's
Generally, the character.
She has no connection to the story, so there's no. She's not a hero or a villain. She's just God accidentally wandering through the ants fighting each other.
Ray doesn't seem to have a consciousness.
Yeah, she just not bumbles along. She's just
a husk that looks like a human that falls forward through the story.
Her life is just on rails.
Okay. Anyway, let's talk about her when we actually get to.
Let's keep going.
So.
Oh yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah,
because we are getting to her.
We drop a character into the world and wish fulfill the hell out of it. Our buddy Mary Sue is gorgeous, talented, and respected by everybody. She's better than everyone at what they do, but nobody's mad about it because she's just so amazing. But none of that is why we dislike her. No, we find her annoying because the story is empty. This version of Mary Sue takes the spotlight and prima donnas her way through an otherwise fascinating fictional universe. This is just pure wish fulfillment. She's a backstoryless bundle of positive character traits with nothing behind the eyes, and the story's no fun unless you like pretending to be her, because
with like all the female characters at the end of the Game of Thrones TV show.
Yeah, they sauntered through fucking.
Every female character became that.
Well, I think the Arya Stark was mentioned a few times, pops up because she's so amazing, and I would argue a lot of stuff she earned.
I at least become some magical being. But where this is really obvious is rather the Sansa storyline.
No,
where the moment she gets in charge, they have to write some intelligent lines for her because she has to be shown to be smart somehow, and it just says the dumbest things imaginable, like telling an accomplished, seasoned old blacksmith some dumb shit to do with the armor. That is just utter nonsense, and everybody goes like, yes, Your Highness. So that she looks intelligent. That is what bad writing of Mary Sue does, because the writers themselves don't take the effort to even figure anything out, how anything works. They just write some shit and have the have it displayed through character interactions.
The biggest red flag of Game of Thrones writing was D&D interview where he's saying she kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet.
Anyway,
stuff like that.
let's get back.
Anyway, guys,
The story is entirely people reaffirming how great she is. Now, this was the Gen 1 Mary Sue, the original shameless girls just want to have fun fic insert. And honestly, I'm not gonna complain about her. She's a fanfic character. People write fanfic for fun. And if your first original character happens to be you with better hair, then whatever, man, you do you. But Gen 1 Mary Sue understandably got a lot of backlash. She was accused of being too perfect, too flawless, too good, of stealing the spotlight from the real heroes, which are all understandable complaints. But this gave rise to the second generation of Mary Sues, where some subdivision happened. See, those criticisms landed. People wanted to avoid the scorn that came with writing a Mary Sue, so service attempts were made to change these characters in ways that violated the Gen 1 complaints. This character can't be a Mary Sue. See, she's not perfect because she's actually a huge asshole. This one can't be a Mary Sue because he's the villain. This one's not an original character, they're repurposed from the original source material, so they can't possibly be a Mary Sue. Now this gave rise to the substrains of Jerk Sue, Villain Sue, and Possession Sue, respectively. All attempts to subvert the image of the Mary Sue without removing the fundamental Sue-ness. The Jerk Sue would be a colossal dickhead, but everyone they cared about would love them anyway. The Possession Sue would basically...
Thank you for that example, because that is that in my eyes would be Kira in Deep Space Nine.
What?
Everybody loves that woman, and I do not understand why.
No. Not even close.
Fight.
Her and Cisco butted heads all the fucking time over a lot of shit.
And everyone else wants to pick this crazy terrorist who wanted to blow up her own mother.
What?
what?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Even then, it wasn't that blamed, dude. It never was.
That is true. That is true.
It's like it was never
Kira came
blamed.
across like an actual person.
Yeah, she do write her as an actual person. She has plenty of nuance, and from the way they portray that backstory of hers, it's like you can definitely see where she's coming from when she makes those kinds of dumb decisions that anyone would make at that position.
Well,
Yeah,
also,
she has a few views.
The Bajorans are trying to rebuild their civilization. So this whole her occupation in the military, her position there, the entire military structure for them is new. So there's a lot of growing pains that are going to happen. That especially going from a terrorist to what was it, like a colonel or a major?
Major at first, and then for the final season, Colonel, because Cisco left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be like a bit of a culture shock, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. I think she's a good example of a character who can superficially resemble this kind of sooness. However, everything she does is through the plot justified. What kind of person she is.
Yeah, that'd be a better
So
way.
her competence is justified, because that is, if she hadn't been that competent, she could never have survived that kind of guerrilla terrorism war.
Occupation, yeah.
Yeah. So she has to have this asshole determination personality, or has developed it. Otherwise, she wouldn't have gotten where she is. She couldn't have done the things she did.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. Yeah.
What fanfic you write?
Let's just keep going.
Yeah. When you just write fanfiction, that's for you personally. That's not the stuff that gets actually canonized. That's the difference.
Yes.
Rewriting existence to match with what the author wanted them to be, often pulling them pretty far out of character in the process. The villain Sue was actually pretty easy to get away with, because villains are already often over the top, cooler than the heroes, and crazy flamboyant, not to mention just plain fun to play. Now, there are a ton of other Gen 2 strains, but they all have one thing in common. The story still only exists to serve the image of the character, just like it did the Gen 1 Sue. No matter the skin, the Mary Sue makes the story boring around them. A story with a Sue at its core is written as though the Sue is the center of the universe. We're supposed to accept at face value that they're the most interesting, most important character in the story, because that's the starting point of their character, not their backstory, not their motivation, just how invested we're supposed to be. And I think fundamentally that's what makes a Sue a Sue. It's not something that exists on the level of a character trait, but on the story level. It's how the plot flows around them. The error is that the author starts from the premise that this character is by default the best character. Not the most paragon, not the most powerful, but the best. The one everyone sees themselves in. Or at the very least, the one everyone wants to pay attention to. And that's the problem. When you start from that premise, you forget to write the character in a way that draws us in. When you start with the idea that of course the character is the center of attention, we, the audience, will never actually internalize why they should be the center of attention.
Yeah, she's not wrong.
I agree.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, we have this automaton who's just getting into stuff and they don't know why. And they just bounce around. And we don't know what they want, or if they do want something, they get it. And it just happens because plot. So it's...
One of the characters that I really dislike, and it is a Gary Stu, is one from The Legend of Korra in the episode of
My mic was off. Sorry. She already gave away the core of the issue here, which is in her choice of words of the plot flows around the character.
In that case,
Which means because what happens with a Mary Sue is the Mary Sue is not part of the plot, but the plot flows around the Mary Sue.
plot is part of her.
No, I know what Wish was trying to say. Yeah, it's not the fact the plot flows around the Mary Sue. It's the fact that the plot bends to the Mary Sue's will.
Well, I would go so far to say the universe does, not just the plot. And with the example of Rey, she's just a pinball machine, or a pinball in the pinball machine, and she can never...
Steven Universe, more or less, but not to the extent of someone like Michael Burnham.
No, and one from The Legend of Korra. He easily gets the powers.
Korra is just a really egregious example.
No, not just Korra. The first Avatar. He easily gets the powers, and he easily knows how to use it.
Yeah, but then again, in the case of fire, he doesn't learn it immediately because he's afraid of the damage it can cause if he gets carried away with it.
Because he caused some damage.
Exactly.
Also damage. He made the guy.
First, they just gave him the best TAM person for the job. So, to teach him.
Korra too, it's a big Mary Sue. She already knows how to do the 3 powers from the beginning.
Yeah, and the one she's missing, which is air, she just gets it.
It is magically handed to her.
Yes.
The universe bends over those characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we can keep going because she's right so far about everything, which is
so far,
which is really shocking me because usually by this point she's already got the trope wrong.
Well, what she did was she not cherry picked, but she selected 3 particular flavors of Mary Sue from TV tropes, and I don't know why she did. That's fine.
Well, at least you read TV tropes.
I know.
This time instead of last time.
At least.
So yeah, hey ho.
For fucking.
Or maybe you just think she did. Maybe she just read the title, the headlines, as last time.
No, I don't think she even read the headlines of it because she said sins of father when it's like the sins of something weird. It was different on TV
Sins
tropes.
of the father.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're good to go.
It's writing with a blind, and that blind spot isn't going to be filled, and that pulls us out of the story. And this is the problem that transcends fanfic and starts to enter the world of original writing. Anytime the writer is too busy squeeing over a character to establish why we should care about them, it ends up feeling a little too self-congratulatory. But the problem doesn't stop there. The Mary Sue distorts the world around them, changing the way characters act and reality works to put the focus on them. The Mary Sue is the center of attention at the expense of basically everything else. And this isn't always positive in story. The sympathetic Sue archetype is the character who the universe conspires to make miserable, just like the Gen 1 Mary Sue is the character the universe conspires to make look good. The Mary Sue in any of her forms is the center of everything, and that's not really going to be a compelling read, no matter how interesting her character is. And it's usually not that interesting. It takes more than a cartoonishly traumatic backstory and a laundry list of positive traits to make it.
And the center of everything is the part where I see the parallel to a narcissistic personality.
Well, okay,
because in that mind is about all the world is connected to me, everything in the world is connected to me and about me. If you say something about anything, the narcissistic mind automatically thinks, how is that connected to me?
Well, okay.
Is that something about me?
I could take a character like you just listed a bunch of positive traits and make them attractive to an audience. And it's how you do it, not... So I could take the Mary Sue archetype, let's say. So let's take Xena Warrior Princess, right? She's amazing. We don't know how she's amazing. We learn later in the story where she got these abilities and gifts. But first off, she's just kicking ass. She could take an army on. And she's got a magical chakram that could deflect and bounce off 12 different guys and come back to her. She can backflip in the air. She does amazing shit. And it's all fun and simple because that's the point of the story. This story is Xena Warrior Princess. So we take a few liberties because it's not supposed to be taken too seriously with the magic of Xena being Xena. And that went on for years and years, and they developed characters and other conflicts and plots. So you can take all a laundry list of traits. It's how you present them, and are they attractive enough in a level of believability that is essential to the genre. So if you take a hard science fiction story and you put Xena in it, things are going to break down. They're going to fall apart. It just wouldn't work.
Yeah, the problem is not the overpowerness, because there's characters that we like that are overpowered, like Saitama.
Right. So you have characters that do things extraordinarily, and they're not explained. We don't know why Saitama is powerful, but the story isn't about him. It's kind of like the Mad Max story. It's where he's just a vehicle for other people to tell their stories, and that's what ends up happening in a lot of, the lone wanderer, the mysterious guy wanders into the despotic Wild West village or town, and to keep things away from him, they focus on the conflicts of the people in the town, the problems they have, the person who's in charge, and how that guy is going to come in and save them. And that's the interesting part.
In the case of Saitama, that is also part of the mystery and often the butt of a joke.
And it's not necessary.
Why he's so powerful.
Yeah, it's not necessary to reveal that.
That's
right.
Yeah.
Because he's not the focus. And that's the point. The point is still drama
and
or
he's
action
just,
or whatever.
All Saitama is physically strong and invulnerable if you want, but that's only physical. Saitama's weaknesses are in his mind, and that's where his struggle is. And Mary Sue, however, nothing.
Well, even with
nothing physical, nothing mental will hurt a Mary Sue because the world won't allow it.
Even with his arguably weakness, is not even the focus of the story anyway. So make him more realistic. Make him have money problems. Make him, I got to go get a sale on cabbage or whatever. Like, that's practical. So it's like, yeah, make him more of a guy that we can relate to, which is perfect because the story isn't about him anyway. So may as well make him believable, aside from his unbelievable stuff, which is fun and crazy. So it's like an entertainment thing like Xena, where it's like, okay, yeah, Xena, she's awesome. She could backflip and jump off horses and crap like that. And then she has problems with her family and her best friend losing, and whether she can care for them or not or protect them. So there's enough for us to connect with these characters.
They still have conflict, but it's not physical conflict.
Yes, and when we always go back to Ray or Wesley Crusher, it's just like there's no reason why these characters exist the way they do or how, and the focus is on them because it leaves us with questions. Then we sit there and go, how did she do all that? Because that was the focus of the plot. And the plot needs to make sense. The plot has to have certain demands. Like, why are you doing this? How did you do this? And how did you get from A to B? Very simple stuff. In
the case of Wesley, they made him work a lot better later on, didn't they?
They gave him a magical ability.
By getting him off the show, yes.
Yeah.
In the last episode,
just not as much.
They gave him a magical ability of teleportation. You're like, okay, thanks.
That was just in the last episode. I wouldn't really take that too serious. The credit I would give to the first season, though, is that Picard doesn't like children, doesn't want Wesley on the bridge, and says the famous line, "Shut up, Wesley." It's all in the first season. So that there is at least conflict with him.
And they retain those details all the way to the very end. And they build on them.
Anyway, let's keep going.
Character compelling. Now to be the character at their center where the character isn't a Mary Sue. The distinction is that a Mary Sue warps the way the world works around them. Glorifying the Sue is prioritized over maintaining the established characterizations or the straight-up rules of reality. A hero might be at the center of the story, but they won't be the only important character. Luke might be the one blowing up the Death Star and saving the day, but Han's the one overcoming his personal demons and swooping in to save the kid's life at the last second, and Leia's the one sacrificing everything to get the plans to the rebellion in the first place. And we can't forget that the main drama in the story is caused by the presence of an equally fascinating villain to oppose our main trio. And that's the main false positive here. There's a difference between being the hero of a story and being the center of the universe. A Mary Sue's not a character, they're an artifact of an overly centralized story, and as a result, a Mary Sue will basically never have a good supporting cast. You can't have compelling characters and side stories in a world that's all about Mary Sue, and that's what Mary Sue is. Not just the center of the universe, but the only real thing in the universe. Everything has to lead back to the Sue. In any situation where that's not true, you don't have a Mary Sue.
I would argue, no, you could have a protagonist where the focus is the protagonist. That's fine. You do that all the time in writing. So.
Yeah, the thing is, the Mary Sue needs to warp the universe and the rules around her or around him, because there's the Garrus too.
Yeah, I would for the most part agree with her here for this last part, for the reality warping and the weak support cast.
Because
Sansa Stark is the example for that, and Michael Burnham is the example for that. I forgot the name of the character. The super smart, super engineer in the Expanse, the girl, the Belter, is that the first time she ever shows any real weakness is when she wants to get down to a planet, and in the later season, and she physically can't stay there for too long because she lived in zero gravity all her life. That's the only time there's really a problem. I remember there having been a real problem with her. And she made so many decisions that affected the solar system and the politics of the solar system in extremely detrimental ways. And it's just written off. It's just thrown away. Everybody still likes her. She gets. I think she gets criticized a little bit, but that's just a line, and then everything's fine again. And that is what I'm. When Mary Sues are criticized, it's at the worst. It's that. It's you did a bad thing. Let's have a drink.
Well, that reminds me of Amos, because he just has that wonderful surgery where he just doesn't care. That's great. It's like an extension of his current personality. So if anything were to happen, it's extremely straightforward. So,
Amos was the best character.
Yeah, for sure. He's my favorite. Anyway, we're doing very well. This is like she's not missing more than she's hitting, which is great. So,
might have an overpowered character, but the Sooness is built on the fact that the story is sacrificed to make the character look good. A character in a good, well-rounded story where there's focus put on other characters and character interactions that don't center on them can't be a Mary Sue. The worst they can be is poorly written. And I would be remiss as an internet content creator if I didn't address the gender thing.
Now we have the problem.
Is, the brand of Mary Sue is a female trope. She started as a poorly written self-insert, mostly used by beginner female fanfic writers, and blossomed into 1,000.
Because it started with a female character. Yes, if it had been a male character written by a male narcissist, we would use that term.
And to Gary Stu.
I still, again, I would not say...
Yeah, but then we would have started with that as the main name for the trope.
All right, that's true. That's fine. Yeah, this is fine.
You can still call a male character. There is a Gary Stu, a Mary Sue. It's not really... It's not really obligatory.
It's not as exclusive as one would think.
Yeah,
It's fine.
it's just describing a concept, and if you feel that your whole sex is attacked by that, I can't help you. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I would just on a side note, her background music is way too loud.
Yeah.
It's hard to follow
the
what she's saying.
same
Not
music she
because of the
always
speed.
uses.
I'm fine with the speed, but the music it's not a type of music. It's that it's too loud.
It's the same she uses every video. So anyway.
Same shit that happened on the Naughty Dog.
Variants
The
of the poorly
volume.
written self-insert used by a wider array of fanfic writers. But Mary Sue characters are not female, and not all female heroes are Mary Sues. The thing is, there's a toxicity in the ease with which female characters can be demonized as Mary Sues for expressing protagonisty traits like being unusually skilled or saving the day. It's the same thing that happened with Gen 1 Mary Sue. People looked at the character traits the Sues were given and decided that those traits were what made her a Mary Sue, rather than the poor writing that surrounded her. And because most fanfic authors were female and most of their author avatars were female, this trope became a female character archetype. Traits that get a male
So it is. So
it is.
there
for
we see
males,
there we see a justification for why it can be considered a female trope,
Right. And she did,
and we see this very day in fan fiction.
and she correctly labeled it. It's not a female trope, but that's what it's labeled as because that's where it came from. It's like, that's fine. That's totally great. She did everything
Yeah,
correct.
she's right. And on that aspect, she's right.
The question, Red, the question you could ask is, why are so many female fanfiction writers writing Mary Sues? It's not just a problem of beginner writers.
Okay.
Very traits that designate a female character as a Mary Sue. People are now hypersensitive to the possibility of a character being a Sue, but only if that character fits what they think a Sue has to be, which is typically a female protagonist. Even though, as we've already
No. They're hypersensitive to it because Mary Sues are everywhere now. They're the main characters of all the major franchises. They're in comics, they're in movies, they're in series. They're in your mock pseudo anime that are just cartoons. It's everywhere.
Back in the day, people call Wesley Crusher a Mary Sue.
At first.
Yeah, that's decades old, the Wesley Crusher thing. So,
And there is one from the Legend of Korra that it is a Mary Sue too.
That one definitely. God.
established, being the plot isn't enough to make a character a Mary Sue, the resemblance is there, and people are quick to pile on with the if they happen to dislike the character for whatever reason. But the definition being used is straight up inaccurate. It has false positives and false negatives. Not every surprisingly badass female hero is a Mary Sue, and not every dude hero is free from the Sue.
and nobody said that, Red. Nobody said that. You're making a black and white fallacy.
You're just spouting common fucking sense.
Oh, because not 100% of all instances are the thing. That therefore the thing is not the thing. Like
That's just
no.
common sense.
A trope is not a 100% representation of reality.
Okay, no shit, it's not 100% one way or the other.
Oh my god.
The Star Wars Force Awakens just did launch it the day, and people were already calling Rey a Mary Sue, which it is.
Yeah, like she didn't lose a single fight.
There was something else I wanted to mention. I forgot. Oh, right. We have two present day variants of this. That is one in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This is Kali Morgenthau, a villain. That is very close to a Sue because she should just be on a hit list. But Falcon is so retarded that he goes out of his way to want to reason with this genocidal maniac. True genocidal maniac.
Even though what she wants is essentially the thing that killed him for 5 years.
Yeah, she wants the Thanos snap back.
He wants the decimation back. Yeah.
Yeah, and thinks that that would be just. That would be justice. That would be the better world. Like, holy shit. And the other example would be Loki, where not just Loki is completely destroyed, but female Loki gets all the Mary Sue traits.
What about Croc Loki?
The actual Loki is just along for the ride. And female Loki is what drives the fucking all the story. She's more competent than him in every way. And there we go.
It's an even greater example because it's not even the main character that's doing it.
Yeah, you got another insert of a by whomever, or maybe no one at all. But maybe it's just it's at this point it's just the thing to do by Hollywood. Because everything they make has this type of character in it. A type of character that you should have been taught in writing school. Do not write like that. It's horrible. People will hate it. Unless, of course, you try to appeal to this exact niche audience of immature power fantasy young girls. But that's not something that keeps your franchise alive.
I remember one Gary's too that everybody loves here, except which is the Dragonborn in Skyrim. The Dragonborn.
What did you say?
No.
Dragonborn.
Dragonborn?
I would say by virtue of being a video game character
the Dragonborn is supposed to be a blank slate that the player is supposed to put themselves in their position. That doesn't really count.
It's a different interpretation.
And you have to progress through use of your skills. You don't just start out with level. You don't start out as level 100 with the alteration, enchanting, loot, magic bullshit on you already. You have to learn everything.
There is.
And it's more literal there because it's a fucking video game.
Yeah, this is like
my bad.
I like comparing it to the isekai just because there's a lot of overlap and I have a lot of examples to showcase. But the idea is that the hero character, the main character, is amazing, and he has magic that no one else can do, or skills that no one else has, or stealing abilities that no one else has ever seen before in hundreds of years. And he goes into a problem situation, and his solution is so profound, and no one was expecting it, that the thing gets resolved, or he comes back with 20 dragon carcasses, and how did you do that yourself? It's not about the actual conflict of fighting the dragon, although that's certainly part of the story. It's that the life around that town has changed dramatically as a result. So they have to adapt to this godlike character coming in and just changing things. And the depth of that, or the scope of that, is determined by how the author writes. So it's how the scene is played out, not that the fact that there's a godlike character. And that is the focus of what makes something not a Mary Sue. It's how it's put together. And if Rey was doing things that made sense, that we could understand, oh, that's how she got the Force powers, a lot of our problems would be like, oh yeah, no, we know why she's amazing. And she's impacting others around her in a way that they react properly, as opposed to just Han Solo going, oh, or whatever, whenever she solves a problem. So we need to have proper feedback from other characters in the universe going, this is weird. I feel it's weird. The audience knows it's weird. And then the story is aware of itself to the point of telling the audience that solves lamp shading solves a lot of problems when you want to maintain that sort of level of magical element that's unexplained. So you just lampshade the problem and address it, and off you go. They tried to do that with episode 7, like she could fly like that. Could you do that? I had no idea. That was a good start, but you had to keep doing that. And unfortunately, the level of reaction was just, how did I fire this gun? How did I swing a lightsaber? How did I pull it? Everything just keeps happening over and over again.
Yeah, it's too much of that. We have this thing with force sensitive characters where in a tough moment you have, and even the Bad Batch has that, and you can come up with several explanations for that. The moment where the kid gets a lucky shot in a dire moment that saves someone's life and they can escape. That is, you can explain this with adrenaline rush. You can explain this with she's essentially a clone like all the others, just a bit modified. So she has all the same. So she has the same genetic disposition, and you can get.
She's not modified. She and Boba are the only ones that are perfect clones of Jango. They very specifically.
No, she's not a perfect clone because she doesn't have the Y chromosome, so she is modified. That's what I mean.
Well, her gender, but other than that.
Yeah,
that's more of a demotion.
Point. She's modified in the sense that there is a slight variation with her, but she has the same basic, all the same basics. Otherwise, the third point is, and that is the Star Wars exclusive thing, is that characters in this world can have these in these dire moments, the one little force surge moment that gets you the lucky the bit of luck boost. And so you can have these three elements come together, or it's something of it, or it's just sheer luck. That's okay. You can do that once. If you do it with absolutely everything in that a character comes across, like Rey, which is shooting, flying, lightsabers, force use. Too much. That's too much.
And especially
that batch with Omega, there was one thing.
Yeah, when we're
talking about the one exceptional thing for any character, you can get your one lucky shot.
When we're talking about the magical element or fantastical element or technological element of these stories, once they do that thing, the story sort of slows down and goes, "Well, how did I do that? Let me investigate that." And sometimes it doesn't go into that because, like with Saitama, it's like we don't know, but he's only doing one thing. He's only punching really hard and killing things instantly. But with Isekai, there's the skills, there's the magic, they go through this whole progression of learning and training, or being gifted skills from the goddess or whatever. And it's like, okay, this is a new rule we've discovered. Now I can experiment with that, and that's part of the next plot of the story or whatever. So it's not just a one-off. That was weird, and they go off the next conflict, and oof, something new happens. That was weird. They actually investigate it. They tell that story because that's what people want to know. How did this character get so strong? What did they do to get that? What did they get from it? It is a power fantasy for sure. And it's something that, because it's relatable in the video game, RPG, whatever concept, it is enough for us to keep our attention. To say, oh, okay, this is probably a game mechanic. Mm-hmm. It's not explained. I can't wait to figure out what that is. And they just keep going and going and going. And in some cases, the writer or the author actually knows, okay, I'm going to make this story about this guy discovering mechanics, and now he's like, I don't want to fight anymore. I want to make a town. I'm going to make a kingdom because I'm so amazing, and I have all these people around me. It's logical to then make a story go in that direction. So
the focus is not combat anymore. It's more about the character doing what he likes rather than he struggling to get more powerful.
Yeah, and there's I can't remember the title of the manga, but it starts off with this guy just being strong, and then he just defeats everything around him, and there's all these followers. He's like, you know what? I'm going to be the mayor of this town. And they're like, yeah, we want you to be. You're amazing. You've helped us so much. And that's the story now. And yes, they're still fighting, but the focus is now changed. The plot has now changed to this guy's daily life in a town he just founded. So
you could say there's a world building going on there, and that's then the story's transitioning to another phase.
Yes, the plot has shifted, and that's fine. I don't like stories like that because it's kind of open-ended. It just could do whatever it wants, whereas other stories...
usually you end the story at that moment.
It becomes
the actual story is done, and then you would do a sequel where
exactly.
Things are different.
Yes, that's how that would work. So there are some mangas that have the foresight to say, oh, if I get transmigrated into a prince's body and I'm a Japanese engineer in a medieval world now, I'm going to reinvent the wheel. Literally, I'm going to reinvent steam engines and other things and revolutionize the world. And that's the story of Release That Witch, which is still, it's almost 300 episodes.
History 10 Ways to Sunday, but sure.
Yeah. So like this is what authors that have planned stuff out, they haven't planned everything out, but they know where they're going. That makes sense. So that's
some things, it does help if you do plan some things out and other strands. You can leave some strands free. That gives you some room to operate in.
It's kind of funny.
But you still need to know where the main thing is supposed to go.
It's funny with that story though, because the author has a wife, and the wife wanted a certain romance subplot, and he goes, okay, but the audience wanted another one, and then the wife got involved with that discussion, and then she ended up changing her mind. Like, okay, maybe we should have a harem or something like that, like a love triangle. So the author is very open to suggestion from loved ones, let's just say.
So they basically went with both ideas at once, in a way.
They are able to change the story properly, and a subplot's not going to damage anything. So that is an interesting way of dealing with fan feedback, as well as by committee. Because if your wife is telling you, I think you should have a story like this, you're like, honey, no. And then the fans are like, this would be much more interesting, and then she agrees, and they finally say, because this is all done light novel first. Everything's done light novel, and then it translates to manga. So
to enemy.
Maybe.
You can
I don't know.
definitely get credit for them with the ultimately more logical conclusion to the idea, as opposed to just one or the other.
Yeah, I know. These ideas almost write themselves sometimes. So the stories are like...
Which can be a good and bad thing, but if you know how to work it out, it can definitely be worth experimenting.
Yeah, the problem with this story is it's so robust that it's like, now we're doing the war arc where he's conquering other towns and cities. And there was all this world building. There was all these like history of this civilization that came before of witches, and all his story about science. He's explaining physics to these people, like how to get. So
it just became too cluttered.
It's just robust. It's just this big. It should have been a story about science to begin with, and it still is. Like he's creating battleships, and he's fighting like triremes. You know, it's just hilarious. He's just ramming them with his steel battleship, and they're just shattering. You're like, what the hell is that?
Fair point.
So it's kind of funny it's still a power fantasy, obviously, because you're using, it's like playing Age of Empires, really. It's Age of Empires.
It definitely makes sense at the very least.
Yeah, it's like playing a video game of Age of Empires, and you have ironclad steel battleships, and you're attacking triremes. It's just the manga. So anyway. There are ways to do these.
And in case of you have a support character, a Deus Ex Machina support character that always swoops in to save the day. The first Xenoblade game did that, and that is the long planned out thing that I mentioned. That because in the end, why that guy is so powerful that he can do all these amazing things. Because he's actually part of the villains, he's a double agent, and he's one of the most powerful beings, probably the second powerful being, alive in that world. He's just disguising himself as a human. In the end, he turns on you.
That's still Xenoblade, right?
That's Xenoblade 1.
Okay, so it's not so much Mary Sue. So you could say they make it look like Mary Sue, but in fact, it's an ulterior motive.
Yeah, but it's also when you see Dixon, he's written in a way and displayed in a way where you just think, as the audience, as the player, that guy is cool. I like this guy. Oh, Dixon is around. Yes, awesome. You're happy to see him. In Mary Sue, an actual Mary Sue, you're not happy to see a Mary Sue.
Okay. Let's go.
So would you say the Xenoblade 1 case is basically a fake out?
I'd say it's how you do two powerful characters correct.
Okay.
Seemingly two powerful characters correct.
All right.
Let's go.
Problem if people weren't disproportionately ashamed of writing or enjoying reading about a character who's Sue. Rather than just following the character's adventures, there's this lingering fear that the character might turn out to be a Mary Sue, making you either a hack writer or dumb for liking them. And because male characters...
I don't think that's a problem. I really don't.
Not really, no.
I'm not reading a book going, oh, I hope they don't become a Mary Sue.
It's pretty telling
You're
immediately.
You're just reading, and then you say, okay, this character might be a Mary Sue.
Yeah.
After you read the book.
Yeah.
That could be any series of problems.
Characters don't become Mary Sues.
Yeah,
They already are, and you only pick up on all the hints that are just mounting up.
You could, I would argue, you could deduce the particular subplot or character plot of a murder mystery, and you're happy that you did. You don't care if it's like old or expected, because that's where the story was pointing. It's still a puzzle. Like when you solve a 100 or 1,000 piece puzzle, you're still a sense of accomplishment. It doesn't matter if it's a 10-piece puzzle or a 1,000-piece puzzle. It's obviously one's easier than the other, but it's still a puzzle, and that's why you're reading the book.
Yeah, I was always pleased myself whenever I found out who the murderer was on Columbo.
Well, I'm glad you're paying attention to Columbo.
I'm glad you're paying
great.
attention. I'm glad you're paying attention to the first 5 minutes of every episode of Columbo.
100% success rating. You know, I did better than most people.
Yeah. On that note, I would, and that is deliberately made for I think for older people, so that you can just see how does he get to where he is. It's the simple version. What I would have liked for a DVD release of Columbo is that the episode is automatically, that the intro part is automatically left out, and just that the reveal is attached at the end. That you could view it in that alternative order.
It's kind of like a.
Maybe.
If you skip that, it's still really good crime.
I would argue it's almost like a brute force approach, because Columbo just keeps asking questions and questions and questions.
Just one more thing. Just one more thing.
Just one more thing. Just one more thing.
Just one more. Just something that's just been just in the back of my head. Just one more thing. I'd just be like, just fucking arrest me. If at least in prison, I won't see you.
You'd
You'd be surprised how well that works.
And then, like, you think that, and then he'll come to your jail cell. More.
One more thing. Oh no, but I did actually. To be honest with you, I didn't mind knowing who it was. I actually enjoyed watching how all pieces fit together and how he came to the conclusion. But that's not about Mary Sue's. I think we can move on.
Right. Okay.
Characters are to be called out for sooness. This shame mostly roots itself in female protagonists. And the thing that makes this disproportionate is that an accusation of sooness is a conversation ender. The character's been tainted. Their strengths and...
Okay, I think she's like trying to defend female protagonists as a whole in writing, and I don't know why. I don't care.
Yeah, female protagonists are fine.
Because
The problem is female protagonists. The problem is badly written protagonists.
No, guys, remember. Yeah, guys, remember, all women are exactly the same. Like, all black people are exactly the same. There is no individuality. Everyone is just a grey blob within their grey blob sector. So all women protagonists are exactly the same. That's the problem.
Here we get into the next thing.
Remember what I said earlier? Like, she's gonna somehow swing this around to, like, all women are...
Yep. Oh, no. Bears. This is why I listen to you with your sports bets. You just keep hitting them out of the park. It's just.
All right, let's go.
negative traits that you're not allowed to admire. And because Mary Sue is very strongly a girl-associated trope that never really sticks when applied to a male character, the accusation of sooness basically only ever makes it shameful to like female characters. And it is shame.
No.
How weird is that? We get a literary device whose very name being mentioned is capable
You're
of
so
stripping
dumb.
Here's
Brett, you're so dumb.
the video is officially starting to fall apart.
She was doing so well.
Is she just
Being
bitching?
right is fun.
Is she just bitching because people
Yes.
bash female protagonists in stories?
Mary-
Bad
Yeah,
female
but-
protagonist. Badly
but
written
the thing
female
is-
protagonist.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like that. It's just Mary Sue's just aimed at women. Yes, that's because it's called a Mary Sue. If it was a Gary Stu, it would have been a male. Hence why there's a different name for it.
We were doing so well.
We bash male characters like that. It's just the fact that the major difference is this: when someone bashes someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone and like Rambo's or Terminators or anything like that, guys go, yeah, there's a problem. Yeah, that's fine. I can understand. When you bash a character like Ray or someone else in whatever the Dark Fate one, whatever that stupid people were called, or whatever, the women get their knickers in such a twist. It's like it's cutting oxygen off to like their heads. They go,
yeah.
Hey,
When a female character is not allowed to have any flaws and has to succeed at everything, and everyone has to like her, because the very women who would write Mary Sue's go into a hissy fit because, oh no, you write the female character is not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That is misogynist. Then even the normal writers will feel forced to not get in, because they do not want to have this harpy mob after them, will write badly written, shallow female characters. And then it is a self-perpetuating cycle, self-perpetuating problem that female characters that are written will get worse and worse and worse and more uninteresting, just as we see with characters of non-white races. They're also starting to not be allowed to have flaws or problems or struggles, which is why they're fucking boring.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is spreading further and further. Like the shit in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Falcon was an asshole, an idiot.
But the thing is, he was kind of interested in the movies, and then in his own thing, it's like he was just political propaganda, wearing Falcon's skin as like
Black Panther.
You know what he was in the movies? A character.
Yeah. It's literally like all these new characters are literally like Edgar the Bug from Men in Black. Just disgusting, horrible creatures wearing the skin of humans, pretending to be part of civilization. You're like, we can see what you are.
How do you do fellow humans?
All right. Here's
Kevin Feige, give me sugar and water.
Yeah. So, Red, it wouldn't be a problem if authors could feel safe. Let's say it as pathetic as that. Could feel safe writing flawed women. Japan still does that. That's why everybody's buying manga like mad. Because it's interesting characters, it's working characters. The West doesn't dare write a flawed woman or an abusive woman.
Well, okay.
When there is an abusive female character, she gets justified and excused and everything. Like, no, this is horrible.
We can have flawed Mary Sues. We could also have Mary Sues that fail. That's not the problem. The problem is they're still a Mary Sue, even if they do have some character traits that are interesting.
The problem is, Smud, is their failures are still successes. That's the thing.
The consequences of their failures don't amount to anything. It's always a surface level result, or it doesn't impact their character. That's the if you have a flaw,
it's usually that other characters take the brunt for the failure of the Mary Sue and fix the whatever the Mary Sue has fucked up. The Mary Sue having to take no responsibility and having to have no growth because she's perfect.
Like there's a scene in episode 9, which I know is not a great film, but they do some things right, which is the antagonist Kylo Ren is attacking Rey not only physically through their crazy force bond when they're fighting, but he's also chiding her on her lack of having a family, and she's concerned about that, and she gets furious over that. So that's good. That's what you want antagonists to do. The problem is it all amounts to nothing.
Good. Let the hate flow through you.
Well, it all amounts to nothing because we just find out, she's her parents were clones of whatever, and you're just like, oh, so where did all that gumption and where did all that anger and all that problem of finding a family go? It's just, oh, here's the answer. You're like, oh, now what? Now I have to kill you. It's like, that's it? That's all?
Yeah.
So there's nothing.
Surprisingly easy. I should have done this earlier.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing integrating the motivation of Ray to deal with that problem because the problem is stop bad guy.
Yeah, but also the problem is just like Ray has there's no motivation whatsoever. So we don't really care if Kylo Ren insults her parents because we're like, we don't care. We stopped caring 2 movies ago.
This is something that should have been going on throughout the entire story, and it just happened right at the end, and then it just gets resolved because she has to stop the bad guy anyway, and there's no like, there's no revelation. It's just, oh, you're my grandfather. It's like, whatever.
I do like the fact that they have to stop the bad guys even though the bad guys have already won. I still don't get that because the First Order still rule the galaxy. And killing Palpatine doesn't stop the First Order ruling the galaxy.
Especially when there's one of the Death Star destroyers that's just out there. They just forgot about it.
They launched one.
But all the other ones, just the First Order. Well, the First Order has men and ships depending on plot. So.
Anyway,
remember this is the same organization that took over the entire galaxy in one day.
Anyway, we've not heard her mention Ray, so we should probably stop talking. I want to focus on the video.
Yeah, well, she said she likes Ray, and I think that's where she feels personally.
Yeah, but that's a generic
I don't know if attacked, but it implies that Ray is a Mary Sue, and she wants to not feel bad for liking a Mary Sue. I think that's what's going on here.
This current part of the video, yes, she's
for the well, that's why she's probably made the video in the first place. And the current part is that she is making a black and white argument. She is I think I don't know if poisoning the well is the accurate one here. But where she says, where she complains that people don't like female characters because of Mary Sue's. Like I'm sorry, that is a fallacy. That's not that is illogical. It is people don't like Mary Sue's, period. And because there are so many beloved female characters in the West and in the East. You cannot tell me that people dislike female characters. Period. People dislike Mary Sue's, of which the most happen to be female.
All right.
You have to figure out why people even write these stupid characters.
Here is EC Cons. Look at her pinned comment after the video. I did. Yeah, it's more like, oh, I know what a Mary Sue is and yada yada. Male, female crap. You guys can read it. It's pretty long, but I'm not going to read it. It's unnecessary. Nothing we haven't heard before. Anyway, we are 8 minutes in. We have
we're almost done, to be honest.
And a half to go. So...
Come on, adverts. Come on, ads at the end. This is like a 2-minute ad.
We've already established this is where it's kind of going off, and I think she's going to keep running with it. So,
yeah.
Stripping the joy of a girl-centric story. I mean, nobody watching Dragon Ball is worried about being called out for liking Goku, except by Vegeta fans, even though he's a ludicrously powerful central character who everybody likes, who keeps pulling new abilities out of his ass and basically never loses, except when he needs to get the almost dying.
He never loses except for when he dies.
The 25 times he dies.
I can give you.
Also, he's an idiot.
At least for Dragon Balls, I can give you pretty much each situation where he loses. All right. The very first fight of Dragon Ball Z, he loses, and he technically loses because he dies. In Z, it's against Vegeta, it's a tie.
Hold on, Gingerman, did you just say he technically loses because he dies?
Well, he won the fight, but he dies.
Yeah, like John Henry technically lost that the competition against that Steam Engine there.
Ultimately, Piccolo is the one that wins the fight because he's the one that does the technique.
Yeah. JFK lost the gunfight with...
Don't you dare compare to that. Fuck you. I knew you were going to pull that one out. But
He's still confusing
The
again.
stands.
I mean,
He doesn't
JFK
always win.
JFK was
Okay,
asking
yes.
for it. He tried to get away from, the fiat currency and everything, so,
Mhm. Okay, so Abraham Lincoln lost the gunfight with
Technical
which one was
chaos.
it? Technical.
Fucking
Fucking
hell,
Lord.
fuck, really.
The judges scored, and
Son
just-
Goku
Lincoln
even
lost.
Son
just
Goku
imagine the second
trains like mad, seeks out new teachers all the time that also beat him up, usually, also in some way, or torture him through rigorous training, which makes him better all the time. He even in the original series, that was just Dragon Ball. He got beaten up pretty bad a few times. He
I think
lost
Dragon Ball-
constantly.
I think Dragon Ball alone has the most times Goku has actually lost.
Yeah.
I will concede to that.
The power creep is there, but the power creep is the main thing that everyone criticizes about Dragon Ball.
Yeah, also, and I have to repeat that, Goku is an idiot. He's a wonderful, likable idiot who fights for the right thing.
Not so much an idiot as he is literally the most naive motherfucker on the
Ginga,
whole
he
fucking
can't
planet.
read.
Yes.
Chi-Chi sends him to fucking grocery store with pictures of food drawn on it.
That's not idiocy. That's just
Yes, it is, Ginga. He can't read.
Well, he's never got the education for it. It's not complete idiocy.
Well, if only he'd gone to Cuba, then they have a 98% literacy rate.
Okay.
So,
let's rephrase that. Goku is not very smart.
Yeah, because
He's
for a lot of
under average smart.
There's a
Yeah,
difference.
He doesn't need to be smart,
He's not
though.
educated. He's not educated
Just
for
because-
like average everyday shit like reading.
Not
and
about
shit.
education. Goku is just not very, very bright.
He just has
that's
to be bright
okay.
enough to know where to. He just needs to be smart enough to know where to punch the bad guys.
Yes.
I'm willing to give Goku the benefit of the doubt and say he's an idiot savant when it comes to fighting. Like, literally just martial arts.
I would say that in terms of fighting specifically, he's a goddamn super genius.
Well, let's think of it in terms of ignorance and stupidity. Stupidity would be I don't know what 2 + 2 is. Ignorance would be
Which
I've
he
never.
doesn't.
Ignorance would be I've never heard of addition before. So.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, it's more idiocy than anything. If you really look back.
No, I've rather.
You could say you could say like with was it Sherlock Holmes? He forgets stuff that he doesn't class as important. Like he will forget like what 2 + 2 is if it means freeing up space in his brain to help solve a case. He even says that in one of the books.
Yeah, so that kind of mindset isn't anything new.
Yeah,
ignorance.
There's definitely variance, but it's nothing new.
Isn't ignorance the active rejection of knowledge? Like
It's-
not just not knowing, but also I don't want to know.
No, it's not even being aware of being able to choose to be aware because it's
Yeah, well, in
Yeah, but
Goku's
Goku
case,
can't learn. He
It was
can't
more
learn
so-
these things.
and it's more so
It's
because
not that he's ignorant. He can't learn
more-
these things.
it's more so partially because of Grandpa Gohan, because all Gohan could teach him was fighting.
Well, he was a bad dad.
Well, he died later.
all right. Let's keep
And
going.
that's why Gohan is.
Also,
but
why
they-
is
they claim that
why
Goku
is
is a
King
suit.
Kong
It's just dumb.
Why is King Kong on the screen?
She's a funny
Because Goku is a monkey.
Oh,
Yeah, the whole thing about him being an alien monkey. Yeah.
I thought she just thought he was black.
Oh, Leon. Before
Anyway.
that gets any worse.
No, Asians are white.
I mean, hell, I like Goku, but the universe keeps finding new and exciting ways to make him even more awesome, even at the cost of logic or established reality. And that looks
Well, that's
pretty
just the
silly
show.
by the definition
Yeah,
most people seem
and
to use.
people
And that
Oh,
No, he
doesn't
criticize-
dies all the time.
That's a fundamental aspect of the show where the whole point is that Goku and the others like keep getting better to fight stronger enemies.
Guys, she
Because
hasn't seen Dragon Ball.
yeah, because at least in Dragon Ball Z, especially in Dragon Ball Z, it's like that entire group is specifically dedicated to protecting the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically in Dragon Ball Z. Super can go fuck itself with that.
So
Yeah, and they
criticize
only
Creep
go out of
every
their
time.
way. Sorry, I was talking over you. What did you say?
People criticize the power creep every time in Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. But they only go out of their way to find a new way to resurrect Goku. They had accepted his death. They go out of their way to resurrect him because they noticed that they realized we're at our limits. We need Goku back. Is there something we can do?
Yeah,
If he was here, he could do it, but we can't.
It's mainly because there's literally no other option left for them. It's not because, because he's main character. It's because they've exhausted all their options. They need their big gun to get here.
Yeah, and the problem is even with the Dragon Balls come with rules. I think it was you can only revive someone once with them, and that's why they later needed the dynamic Dragon Balls, because those are different Dragon Balls. You haven't used their resurrection thing yet for this one person.
Yes. Oh, well, no. I think the Namek, if I remember correctly, the Namek Dragon Balls didn't have that restriction. And that's why
I think you're right. Yeah,
when they later replaced the Guardian of the Earth because Kami fused with Piccolo, when it came time for Dende to do it, they decided since he's more capable of maintaining the connection between himself and the Dragon Balls more than Kami. I don't know why. They were able to change the rules of the Earth Dragon Balls with that.
Yeah, that's rules I'd rather have kept and kept for dynamic things, because it makes stories a bit more complicated if you don't have your eternal resurrection device.
Thankfully, they balance it out by the fact that they surprisingly use the Dragon Balls slightly less than before.
Okay, here is Alex Halo. Hey, Alex, how's it going? Oh, let me guess. At least Goku can do more than Saber. Goku knows how to farm and hunt. Saber's only skills are folding clothes and raising horses.
Isn't Saber a woman, though?
She is a woman, and she's
okay,
very
so
good.
she doesn't need to know anything else.
Well, she knows how to swing a sword very well, so...
Well, mind you, Super is the one that really shows that he's a damn good farmer.
I would say...
They do it, they don't show any of that in Z. Sorry, go ahead.
Mateus? Hello?
Hello?
Oh no! Oh no! Brazil got him.
It's like, what were you asking? Cut off.
Just a second, guys. We'll come back.
All right. Okay. Anyway, we got 2 minutes left. We're still talking about Dragon Ball, so let's go.
I think the strength of his supporting cast is more than enough to save him from Sunus, and even if it weren't, it's just plain fun. It's important to recognize that there's a disproportionate level of shame and anger directed towards female characters that have even a glimmer of Sunus about them, where a corresponding male character gets to pull off impossibly unlikely heroism with nary a sidelong glance.
We still make fun of him.
No, it's because we're completely oversaturated with these horribly written characters by people who can't fucking write.
You know,
so we're oversensitive to them now.
Because men can take a joke and women are whiny little bitches. So that's the problem.
Also, Dragon Ball is a lot more relevant to this than you think, because even Dragon Ball Super has Mary Sue's that they one of them literally just goes Super Saiyan 2 just by the thought of it.
Yeah, but here's another thing as well. Men have this thing called banter, where we can take the piss out of each other constantly.
And women have bitching.
Friends. Yeah, and women have bitching, where it's because women hate each other anyway. So women don't understand jokes. I mean, how could they? They're just one big joke.
It's the whole thing about men being misogynistic, just projection by women because they hate each other.
Yes, yes, that is true. Yes.
What did I miss?
What did you miss? Me being based, but nothing no.
I mean, you can't be based. You're British.
Red is basically just telling us that there's a bias towards female protagonists that are Mary Sue's as opposed to potential male protagonists that are Mary Sue's.
No, but the thing is, remember when we talked about Commando, and we were talking about that scene where he's just literally mowing down everyone, and we were all laughing and joking about it.
Yeah.
that's like a Mary Sue style of thing, and we were laughing and joking about how ridiculous it was. Yeah, if we had done, say, if Ray had done something like that, and we were laughing and joking about it, they'd be kicking off, calling us sexist and misogynistic. And we're like, no, we're just having a joke about the damn thing. It's just a funny scene. And then you see what the difference is. Well, that's the big difference.
The story of Commando is all about this one-man army who could just kill anyone with all these guns and knives and mercenary tactics.
He's a Gary Stu.
That's the point.
He wipes out half of Puerto Rico. You know, it's in just like one spell. I don't know. They couldn't. I can't say Mexican because you know Mexico's a bit bigger. But you know, it's. But literally, that scene is just him mowing hundreds of people down, and he's not even got a scratch on him.
Yeah, like,
I mean, he also impales a person on a fucking pipe. So you know, he uses a pipe, but So, but we laugh about that, but we can't laugh about what Ray does. I mean, even if we did find things funny in it, they'd still complain at us.
Now, if Ray was, let's just put Arnold Schwarzenegger in the place of Ray, and he is a Jedi, so obviously he has these massive muscles and a lightsaber already.
Yeah, I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Yeah, fine, do that, and we're like, okay, he's a Jedi, he knows his stuff. Why is he so? We would still be asking, why is he so strong in the Force? How did this happen? Because this is unprecedented. Like, even if he was an established Jedi, how come no one's heard of him? Like, we need to know that.
He was too busy lifting, Smud.
He was with his mind.
Why?
I'm lifting all the rocks with my mind. Pumping my mind.
Have I ever told you the story of Darth Dutch, the expendable?
Darth Dutch the Swole.
It is because I am the son of Starkiller.
I was made a Jedi to lead, not to read. I am the most.
So it is possible to solve some problems with physique and age. So he's experienced, he's got physical capabilities, but the rest of it, we'd still be asking questions like, where did he learn this? How come no one's heard of him? Yada yada yada.
Yeah. One of the to talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger. What is it? Everyone's seen Predator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember that scene where they literally just let loose all those bullets into the canopy and everything like that, and it's supposed to be like this incredibly like tense situation and this awesome thing? Well, my mum made the best thing ever, saying like, just imagine if there's some poor like possum in there, frantically dodging all the bullets, and it made us laugh. We can't take the film seriously now with how stupid it is. It's like
I know she meant like running away from it, but I imagine just a possum just dodging it like Neo from the Matrix.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, oh my god, dodging it really well. But it's one of the things like we both loved that movie, but we took the Mickey out of it. But with these people, even making a joke like that to them, you'd get this sort of like backlash of being like sexist, misogynistic, and it's all wrong. It's like we can't even make jokes now.
Yeah, which is the narcissistic tantrum I kept mentioning. Which is why I am so hard on that term. This is why I agree with it.
Yeah, this is why I agree. I agree with what you say with it. Yeah, it's quite obvious. And this is why I say when it comes down to it, it's why people get mad about us doing these streams. It's like we can laugh and joke about things we don't like, but they can't, and they get really angry at us.
We can laugh about things that we like, that we know are flawed or even shit.
Yeah,
because everyone likes something that you know deep down is actually shit. But you have a guilty pleasure about it.
No, I know that Smud really wants to just grab me by a collar and slap me repeatedly because I like Dragon Age 2 and just call me the fucking idiot. I know deep down he wants to do that. But it's like, no, I like it, but I see the flaws. But that's, like I say, that's a difference.
That's totally fine.
I've argued with worse people, Hawk. I don't really care.
Well, yeah. That's what I mean. It's one of those things of like, because I can laugh and joke and say, yeah, you're right. We can have a debate. We can actually have a talk about it. We can actually, get to the bottom of things. But with these people, you can't even just have a laugh and a joke. You can't even break the ice.
Well, as you can see, that person you left in the comment section, he's still arguing like everything I do or every video I made.
Yeah.
I'm a smooth-brained narcissist, sexist. It's like, okay, yeah, sure.
Objection.
Who are you calling a smooth brain?
Exactly. No, how many times do I get called an uneducated Brit because I shouldn't know what I'm on about in regards to America? It's like I can read up on things. But okay, so I also talk to Americans and listen to what they have to say about their country to know what's going on.
Okay, let's keep going. Here's Mora Knight.
Yeah.
Thank you for the 5. I remember when Sword Art Online got its anime years ago. Kirito got bashed for being a Gary Stu to no end. It didn't stop many from liking him anyway. Yeah, there's lots of arguments to make about Kirito because he is the focus of the narrative and he does do very op things very often. So that's kind of the conception of the isekai genre.
But the thing is, we're not trying to say you can't like Mary Sue characters. That's not what we're trying to say. We're just trying to tell you these characters are Mary Sue's, and you this is what they are. You can still like them, that's fine, but you have to accept that they're Mary Sue's. But we're not trying to tell you just don't like them. I would never tell someone not to like something, regardless of how rubbish and crap it is, or how bad it is. You can like it, that's fine.
All right, here's Tyler Preston for 1 donation. Here's a short list of female characters who aren't Mary Sue's. Chun-Li, Samus Aran, Wonder Woman, Sue Storm, Invisible Woman, Sailor Moon, Himeno Awayuki, Hitomi Kanzaki, Noriko Takaya, Raven, Starfire, Batgirl, etc. You are dead wrong, Red. I think she is just taking umbrage to
most of those are very, very beloved characters.
Yeah, she's just taking umbrage to the fact that most of the arguments are about 1 or 2 particular female characters that she's heard a lot because everyone was talking about Rey a few years back as a result. And probably one of the reasons why she made this video. So she's saying, well, there's other Mary Sues out there that are male, and you're like, yeah, we agree, but they're not.
Yeah, they're shit too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
when we call them Gary Stews, and we complain about them all the time.
I was here complaining about what? The Legend of Korra.
Well, the worst thing we could say is the people who like this stuff have bad taste, and that's after we've talked to them, because it really just comes down to I like Rey or I like X because, and you're like, fine, you have horrible taste.
Yeah, the thing with Mary Sue's is that when they have unbelievable levels of physical prowess and beat up guys who are proficient in fighting and 2 or 3 times their weight, that breaks immersion, because with very few exceptions, women aren't known for excelling at physical prowess, not in the strength category, not in the fighting category.
This has been a problem
in elegance, grace, these things, yes, but not in physically beating up everyone.
When we're talking about,
I know I can saunter pretty well, guys. I think I could beat a woman in elegance and grace.
Okay.
Well, if you throw the biggest, if you're a sorceress and you throw the biggest fireball imaginable at people, I have no problem with that. I have no problem to do the Lena Inverse thing. Just dragon slave everything away. That's not a problem.
Well,
but don't make me believe that the untrained, slobby, slightly overweight woman is beating up everyone. I'm not buying that. I'm buying it from Samus Aran, who's genetically engineered and has her PTSD story behind her. That's when we get to know her. We play with her after she's gotten through that. Don't give me this with every random character in existence. It's just bullshit.
Yeah, we've seen this in primetime TV and, the past 20, 30 years in police procedurals and what have you. Some of it's believable because the actors are portraying police officers. So it's like, all right, they would have some training. In actual fight scenes, it looks a little awkward with the more fantastical or sci-fi style shows that existed back in the day. And you're like, okay, that woman is only 115, 120. That man is about twice the size and weight.
That woman is 4'10", and that guy is 7'8". So yeah, I don't think she's doing anything to him apart from tickling his shins.
We can enjoy the fight scene of Power Rangers because they are super powered, and it's like, all right, this little woman who's all in yellow can beat the shit out of this magical putty critter.
Because it's like they're wearing a suit as well. It's like a suit that might be
there's
helping them along.
All kinds of little understandings we can take from fantasy and science fiction, and that's great. It's when you actually have a realistic setting and you see a woman do something where she's not a police officer or is not using some form of martial art. It's like, that is not physically possible.
But even then, I can have a real life example. I know a few of the police force here in town, and there's one woman in particular where I thought she emanates this level of strength and determination. That gives me the feeling this woman could do a I don't know what it's called in English, sting operation, carve out a drug lab all on her own. If you go just by the presence she has. But she's not overly muscular. She's a slim woman. But she would not persist in a fight with trained men because it's just physically not possible. The thing that makes police officers, puts them on equal footing, is they have guns. Guns are the big equalizers. That's where you get that. Why these immature women get obsessed with physically beating up everyone when often in morally questionable contexts, that rather makes me worried.
Haha, okay. We have less than 2 minutes. We should be good to go.
Let's keep going.
Yeah.
We're doing well.
All right.
First codified in female characters. I mean, hell, if we go back 1,000 years or so and take a gander at Beowulf, we see that Mary Sues have always existed. Beowulf's character is, look at Beowulf, he's so cool. Isn't it amazing how he never loses and everybody loves him? Beowulf's
Except for that one time when he fought a dragon and died.
Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus fucking
Beowulf
Christ.
never loses until he does, and then he can't fight anymore because his life has been expunged.
He also.
What the fuck are you talking about?
He also doesn't defeat. He also doesn't defeat Grendel's mother because he just sleeps with her. He doesn't actually win. He lies to the people that he. Just read. Fucking hell! You just even watch that really cringy Ray Winston movie with Angelina Jolie. That's still
no.
Just read the original text. There's lots of things he does that are flawed.
I mean, even in that really bad one. Yeah, but even in that one, you still get the idea that he's not this fucking just Mary Sue character. He still fails.
Yeah, and he suffers.
And even by her,
if we would give her,
and even if we would give her her depiction here the benefit of the doubt, I mean, she went out of her way to draw a picture. There is a difference between your reputation that precedes you usually, and what really happens, and what you really do.
Yeah.
And she is herself making this. She's just going by the reputation. The reputation isn't the character. That's a part of.
Yeah,
I would say that Beowulf is on the spectrum just because he's a main character and the focus is about him, but he pays for his mistakes. Like his whole what is it, the his clan almost gets wiped out because he doesn't train his troops or keep them into battle shape. It's like there's all these things he does that are dumb. So
yeah, you know what's that's like saying English Bob from Unforgiven is a Mary Sue. In his book that gets written, yeah, he is. He does all this amazing stuff, but in the actual film, he gets his comeuppance for lying about stuff. So that's pretty much the same argument, really, that she's making here. It's like, oh, he's got a good reputation, so he must be a Mary Sue. It's like, no, you can lie about your reputation. There's a lot of characters that lie about their reputations and then get comeuppance because
especially bad people. Bad people also lie about the reputation of good people. In order to demonize them, use them as scapegoats, and so on. Reputation isn't everything. Look for the truth.
Alrighty.
Question reputation of people.
We have a minute and a half left. We're doing okay.
You're doing good.
We're doing.
I'm just surprised when every time the last 2 minutes of all these videos just takes the longest.
You can watch this video. You just watch it after she talks about Mary Sue. After that, take a turn off the video.
Or just watch something else.
Just read the article on TV Tropes. There's 3 major pages.
Yeah.
Have fun. Take your time.
Yeah. To be honest with you, this is what always makes me laugh. Is that TV Tropes is actually quite an enjoyable read.
It's entertaining.
You'll find yourself going through so many different things, and you'll just end up in like the weirdest like tropes. So you're like, oh my god, I didn't even know these things existed. So,
all right,
it can give you some pointers for what not to do in writing, and it can also give you some ideas about what trope can you actually use as a tool if you use it right.
All right, here's Dolomaticus. Hey, Dolomaticus, how's it going? The thing is that he makes mistakes, which even the story points out. Yeah, it's pretty clear. This YouTuber really is kind of dishonest. It's why I stopped watching her. I'm assuming she actually went to the marysue.com. I bet they have an article on Beowulf. I bet they do. And they're just, well, Beowulf was the original Mary Sue. Therefore, it's like, oh, God.
No, the real Mary Sue, the real original Mary Sue was Gilgamesh. No, Marduk. Marduk was the original Mary Sue.
Let's actually have a look here.
Why, you're Googling the Mary... Do not go to the Mary Sue. That was a joke.
I'm not going to the Mary... I'm not fucking retarded. No, actually, don't answer that. Let's have a look here.
There is probably a site called themarysue.com.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Do not go there.
Yeah, I'm not going there. I'm just going to see if there's any ones. Oh Jesus fucking Christ! How my God! Oh my God! When does this end? Oh my God! No, there's no examples. Cool.
Anyway, I'm gonna keep going. You can keep
no. You lot do whatever you want to do. I'm interested in this now.
All right. Okay.
Squirrel.
Cool, isn't it great how the universe conspires to help him out right up until he has the most amazing death and burial in history? And if you like or relate to a character that the world calls a Mary Sue, don't let that stop you from liking it. Nobody else gets to dictate your tastes. And there's no shame in just enjoying something. You don't need to justify liking or disliking a character.
Yeah,
everyone's got their tastes. Don't force yourself to hate a
Yeah, just be completely ignorant.
That's all right.
Just go to the restaurant. Just consume food. I don't care. Yeah, just stuff your face full of candy. What the hell do I care?
Yeah, you can eat all the junk food you want, but do not push your junk food onto my plate, and do not push your junk food onto the mandatory nutrition of everyone in the country.
Don't call me a misogynist for not wanting to eat your candy, dude. I'm a misogynist for very different reasons.
Our problem with all your Mary Sue characters is not that, oh, you're not allowed to like it. No, we don't give a shit what you like. We don't like your shit, especially because you put it everywhere and you ruin every media with it, every storytelling. series, movies, books, even video games. I've seen it in board games, for fuck's sake. It's unbearable. This is just complete a destruction by making everything unpalatable. Like putting I don't know, cyanide or bromium into everyone's food. Like, I don't want to eat that.
Alrighty. Let's do it.
Character tells you you're not allowed to relate to them or like one just because the world tells you you have to.
How can
Your
you
tastes
relate
are
to
your
Mary
own, and
Sue?
you have the power to stop the conversation there. Someone else not relating to a hero you like, even someone making solid arguments for that character being a Mary Sue, doesn't mean you have to change your taste to fit their narrative. You're allowed to have plain stupid fun.
No
No,
one
Red,
asked
this
why
is my
it's
point.
just
This is my
consumed
initial
product.
point
This is
from the
fine.
beginning.
No one
You
cares.
cannot relate to a Mary Sue unless you're a narcissist.
And again, that's their business. We don't care. It's not our problem.
Okay,
Yeah,
like,
she's
by the
trying
way,
to justify that.
This is her defending people who can't answer arguments because their tastes are not justified. And they realize their tastes aren't
She's
justified.
pandering to mental children.
I know, but that's fine. This is so dumb. Who cares? Let's just keep going. This is retarded.
No one cares. It's retarded.
Let's defend some idiots. Yeah, go ahead. I don't care.
Yeah, but it's not just some idiots. These idiots are in power everywhere, in politics and in media, and it's destroying everything. There's less and less to enjoy.
All she's trying to say is like, enjoy what you like. It's like, that's right, fine. I have nothing wrong with it. It's a very, very
I
good
assume I
point.
missed something interesting. I have got some news. I've just checked up Beowulf on TV Tropes. I've gone through everything, every version of it. Mary Sue is never mentioned once in any of the articles or anything like that. Even in the original story, it's never brought up. So
Yeah.
hey, I just
It's
bringing
almost
news.
like she's talking shit.
Well, she probably read an article from one of those websites that had a bunch
She
of
is
points.
trying to justify why she likes Ray.
Instead of actually reading Beowulf and going, oh yeah, he's a Mary Sue, because that would take critical analysis and time, and she doesn't have time to do that. So
It took me less than 5 minutes through TV Tropes.
well, TV Tropes is not the be all end all. It lists things that people put together. I bet someone who wanted to put Mary Sue in there could, and it would be edited. But I just read
I
Beowulf.
also
really?
went on to was it the Your Mileage May Vary one and the Wild Mass Guessing because that's where a lot of people put a lot of their things that don't fit into TV Tropes. Sure. And even on that, Mary Sue wasn't mentioned once by anybody. So it was just really weird.
There are definitely, I would say Beowulf is definitely on the spectrum, but he's not. He's not like, oh yeah, this is totally a Mary Sue. Like there are elements where the story sort of gives him gifts and the gods come down and this and that.
Yeah.
So that's.
Yeah, but the gods always come down with stuff in these old stories because
in
the old days that was their get out of jail card.
Right. So
I give slack to writers from 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't think there was fan fiction at that point in time. That's true. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and also they didn't know how to explain. They didn't know how to explain half the shit in their world. So they went, the gods did it. It's like, okay, that's fine. You can say the gods help people out.
Right.
Miracles happen. So yeah. Sorry, but Ugnog the Third from 200 BC didn't know the intricacies of geology to explain why the volcano erupted.
All right.
It was only the Greeks and some Eastern philosophers that questioned those stories.
All right, let's go. 1 minute left.
Yeah. Do it.
Not to say that Mary Sue is a problem, but the traits we commonly ascribe to Mary Sue characters are not what make them Mary Sues.
Let me rewind that.
Yeah.
That was a weird take.
Stupid fun. That's not to say that Mary Sue isn't a real writing problem, but the traits we commonly ascribe to Mary Sue characters are not what make them Mary Sues.
The traits that we ascribe to Mary Sue characters don't make them Mary Sues?
Wait,
That
hold
is
on.
Red,
Wait.
did you have an aneurysm?
That is weird.
So when I figure out the properties of a chocolate cake, that's not what makes a chocolate cake, really? So the cocoa butter doesn't make it chocolate cake.
So the best thing we can
Cyanide
do
is good for you.
What the fuck does that mean?
The best thing we can do, guys, is let's call 911 and get her an ambulance because I think she might be having a stroke.
No, but the ambulance would save her though.
So we find out these properties of a thing. We figure it out after rigorous critical analysis. We go, hey, these 5 criteria that make a thing a thing. Yeah, that's not what makes a thing a thing. I go, what?
Can you rewind
Oh,
that again? Because I want to be sure I heard this right.
This is
So universe
weirdest thing
hating
ever.
about the character doesn't make a very
There
soon.
we go.
Someone making solid arguments for that character being a Mary Sue doesn't mean you have to change your taste to fit their narrative. You're allowed to have plain, stupid fun. That's not to say that Mary Sue isn't a real writing problem, but the traits we commonly ascribe to Mary Sue characters are not what make them Mary Sues. A Mary
What? She really said it.
Yeah.
She really fucking said it.
This is bizarre because she was so nuanced throughout the most of this video when she talks about how there's certain traits that could be Mary Sue-like, and then she gave examples. You're like, yeah, you're right. That's how she started off. You're like, good. You're right. It's
Red,
a nuanced thing.
Yeah. Red, you're gaslighting yourself.
How long is this video, by the way?
We
Say
have
it again.
1 minute, less than 1 minute left.
This thing.
10 and a half.
This thing.
You know, but
only
10,
makes
10 and a
sense.
half. So
Saying this
I
only
think-
makes sense. The only way I can see this making sense in her mind is her trying to cope with the fact that she likes a Mary Sue character like Ray, and has to somehow justify in her mind that this can't be a bad character because I don't like bad things. I like good things. And Mary Sues are bad, and I don't want to like a Mary Sue. And then liking Mary Sues is okay, and what makes a Mary Sue doesn't actually make a Mary Sue. Like,
Okay.
she's trapped in this thing.
I think a better argument is she needed the video to get to 10 minutes, and she's now just saying random shit that doesn't make sense because she needs to get to that 10-minute mark.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
kind of
that's the innocent interpretation.
I like
That's
to
fine.
akin this to like bad Halloween candy, like candy corn or something you don't like. And all candy is relatively not good for you. So, but she's saying it's okay to like candy corn. And we're like, yeah, we don't care, but it's shit.
No, it is absolutely not okay to like candy corn. That's just dog shit. You are objectively
Bears
wrong
comes
if
in.
you like candy corn.
Bears comes in with the base and correct.
Yeah, he comes with a Mars bar. Eat the Mars bar. It's much better for you.
No, Twix.
Yeah. Oh, Wisp. Oh, yes.
Not
Twix
Mars. Mars just kills my teeth. Twix is
Mars is
Also-
soft.
amazing.
Yeah,
I read a
so
comment-
Mars is just too far away to be eaten.
read a comment in the chat. George's Rex said that she's just repeating that overpowerness doesn't make her Mary Sue.
Well, it's
I
a
just
spectrum.
I just
So
don't care.
it's the same with being on the spectrum of the Jedi or
Autism.
autism spectrum.
Being,
Pick-
on,
there's
being on the spectrum of the Jedi, it makes it sound so bad, doesn't it?
I like the fucking thing, like the Jedi or autism.
it's a spectrum.
It's-
They're both a spectrum. Yeah.
It makes it sound like
I
the
just-
Sith are just autistic.
He's so saying a spectrum.
I'm
Yeah,
not equating the
it's just-
two. I'm saying there's a spectrum. Anyway.
I never heard the tale
I
of Darth Plagueis the autistic.
Okay.
That you can say that about Darth Wisp if you want.
Darth Wisp.
Darth Wispy autistic. Oh my god.
Watch what Wisp is going to be for Halloween this year.
No, I've said many times that your title is Wisp the Pissed.
Wisp the Pissed.
With the bags under my eyes, yeah, that'll work.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like, well, no offense, but you're always the one that goes on the really good rants, the really insightful yet long rants.
Darth Wisp the exhausted.
That's my second form.
All right. Here's
That's his-
great Scott. The red A. Okay, wait a second. The red A Sue that could then couldn't. That's good.
I think he read Red Eye.
Yeah.
No, the red A, red meaning red, the person, red, as Ray,
Yeah.
red A. So Ray
yeah.
Sue as Mary, like red A. That
Excuse
could.
me for not getting the joke.
It wasn't that good of a joke, so you're fine.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. Don't worry.
It
It's
was
fine.
you know something. You know something.
No,
It
that
was. I'd give it 5 stars out of 500, but it's still 5 stars there. So, yeah.
This is a 5-star,
I thought-
3-star joke. Yeah.
I thought it was supposed to be Red Eyes too, but which also would have worked for her. Yes.
This is fine. The joke works, guys.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
It does, yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
it does its job.
its job. It does its job.
Yeah.
That's
That's all we can ask for it to do. Leave it alone. It's COVID's a difficult time for everybody.
All
You've got
right.
to just power through with a bad joke.
We're almost done. It's okay.
Yeah, what?
See, it's
Like,
just
what, like
specific strain of poor
Sorry.
writing, where the author prioritizes the glorification of a specific character over the story they're actually trying to
It's not glorification. That's a contradiction, because if you're glorifying something, then you're focusing on how great they are, whereas Mary Sue's can just be awesome, and they have no idea why, or there's no focus on that. It just happens like a whimsical event that
I'd
no
say
one
it's
thinks
one of these
How many
optional traits.
How many times did Ray go, I don't know what I'm doing? Literally in the Star Wars sequel trilogy.
Literally every
Yeah, that's the
time she
opposite
does
of
something.
glorification. Like glorification would be like, "Oh, I'm awesome," and not, "Huh? How did that happen?" Like,
No. Glorification is when everyone else says you're awesome.
that
Yeah.
happens a few times.
Yeah, but with Ray, she's literally like, I have no idea why this happened. I just did this thing. It just happened. You're like, yeah, how fucking great.
Yeah, that's
I just used Jedi mind control on a person. I just accidentally did it.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
that is
okay,
amazement.
The
That is
glorification you see manifested in the part of the main Mary Sue elements where everybody loves the Mary Sue, nobody properly criticizes the Mary Sue.
It's not.
That's
from,
that's where you see any sort of glorification
yeah.
manifest.
It's not from the actual Mary Sue, I'd argue, because they're already awesome, and they're just like, yeah, that's me.
To be honest with you, I knew Ray was a Mary Sue the minute that Leia walked past Chewbacca and hugged Ray. That's when I went. That's when. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
If the moment for me was when she got 3 fucking kill shots on a stormtrooper the first time she ever used a pistol.
Yeah.
I put that down to, I don't know.
No.
I understand.
No.
Can't you go to the super stunt flying the Millennium Falcon?
Well,
Bears, I understand. Looking back, yes, I should notice it earlier, but first time watching The Force Awakens, that was a moment when I went, oh, she's just going to be this Mary Sue sort of
I guess
shit
it's
from
just
now on.
I guess it's just me being a gun guy, you know.
it's a pistol
Yeah.
too, and it's
Gungan?
it's
My first time seeing her being a Mary Sue was when she was fighting with the lightsaber.
Oh, where it's like Kylo Ren just like stood there while she closed her eyes and charged her super move meter
Yeah.
and then won.
Yeah.
the
Look, well,
Force.
I'll admit, on a second viewing, it was a lot earlier that I realised that she was. Things started to make a lot of sense. But when you first watch a movie and like, I was just going, yeah, just going through with
I
it.
believe there's
then-
people who saw she was a Mary Sue when she did the one-hit kill in 3 TIE fighters.
Kylo had such a good setup with that. There were flaws in the writing, but with that, he had such a good
That's an
setup with
understatement.
with his first scene where he stops the blaster shot in midair. Like that's
Yeah.
the moment where that whole movie instantly conveyed, look how fucking powerful this guy is. This is something we can imagine the Force being capable of, but we haven't ever seen it. Nobody's ever done that before. That was great. And after that, he's just completely useless. Like you set up this amazing villain, and then it's just nothing behind him. Nothing.
All right, here is Tyler Preston. Red says that we can have plain stupid fun without judgment, but then her peers like Renegade Cut cries like a little bitch over the Sonic the Hedgehog movie not being political as F.
Yeah.
that's a different person. So wait, they're friends? Peers? Really?
Oh my god.
Mhm.
Why? How?
I don't know.
When? Where?
Socialism?
Also, guys, they're friends, not in the way that Movie Bob's friends with Ellis Lindsay Ellis. I mean, not Ellis Lindsay. Well, I wanted to put a name the wrong way round. Oh God, stop drinking.
Yeah, right.
I would
Or
never,
drink
as
more.
much as I know these types of people, because I've had in the past, I was around these circles a lot. These are not friendships. These are people who know each other due to political alignment.
Oh,
Whenever one of them goes through something hard, they will not be there. These are not friends.
All right.
So they don't sing the Friends theme tune to each other. Then
I don't think these people could stand going to a pub and drinking and having just free chats with each other. I think they would at the end of that evening they would tear out each other's hair if they have any.
That doesn't have a hair, so he have an advantage.
Yeah, then it goes right for the meat.
Anyway, don't worry. These are two different YouTubers. How they relate, we don't know, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, 30 seconds.
We hate them equally.
Trope codifying Mary Sue looks like a gorgeous, perfect female protagonist who does a lot of the important. That's what people use to recognize the trope in action, and that's just inaccurate. And the corresponding levels of hate people get for writing and liking characters that fit that model discourages people from writing or reading stories with female heroes because
No, it doesn't.
Wrong, completely wrong.
Well, to be fair, if it has the Marvel logo on it, then yes, it does discourage me from doing that.
Discouraging people from writing Mary Sue's is a good thing.
But this implies that having an argument with people is influencing actual products made in the marketplace. It's like, no, it's not. We're not changing minds. We're getting the dialogue changed, hopefully, but we're just talking about it. And what the professional world does with that information for their fans is another story. And who the hell knows what the backlash of episode 8 was that caused episode 9? Because I don't think J.J. Abrams gave a crap about what people are saying. All he did was, let's have a scene where Rey's training. You're like, that's not
He wanted
solving
to make his
problems, JJ.
Abrams seemed to just want to make his actual vision of what he wanted to do with the trilogy in some way. As incompetent as he is in many regards, he's still more competent than the psychopathic destructor.
Well, maybe he should have just got some balls and actually done his fucking trilogy and not been a little bitch boy and said, "Oh, just do one movie," and then come back when everything's gone to shit.
If he had done that, Kennedy would have fired him.
Yeah, Kennedy wanted Johnson.
Well, Kennedy got Johnson, and how's that?
This wasn't. I as far as I remember, this wasn't Abrams' fault that TLJ was done by Johnson.
Yeah. I know that, but he should have he's got the power to say, "I'm not doing the first one if you're not making me do the second and third one."
Yeah, have you seen J.J. Abrams? This man doesn't look like he has balls.
Yeah, that's my point.
Are you saying the Moyle was a little too overenthusiastic?
All I'm saying is if J.J. Abrams had been anybody with a pair of balls and said, "I'm not doing this without doing the rest," then we might be in a different situation. But no, he just
not a
rolled
good
over
situation, but different.
I mean, it's not a balls cut off by a madman. They just be placing a vice by a mad woman.
Let's not take that reference literally, shall we?
Yeah,
okay.
and what here we've read. She's now in these last sentences, in these last seconds, she is rambling to defending and justifying that people should write Mary Sue's.
Yeah,
like she's gone. I don't have the words for this. She's giving bad writing advice just because, if it feels good to you, then write. Yeah, you can do that. We have no problems. Nobody has a problem with what fan fiction you write for yourself. Our problem is, and that's if we look at the box office numbers and the sales numbers, that's the problem of the vast majority of the people, that we do not want Mary Sue shit in our official creations, in our official media, in our canonical media.
In mainstream media, yeah.
Yeah, and the niche media, most of it won't survive with that either. The only niche where that may work is the niche of narcissistic people who want to read Mary Sue shit.
You know what?
As we
Mordeo's
can see,
Calgar.
that niche is too small to sustain an industry. As we've seen with the Marvel comics.
We're seeing now with Warhammer too, with Mordeo's Calgar, which pisses me off.
Don't talk about Calgar. We're having a good stream.
Well, let's not deride it any further. We're almost done, guys. Let's keep going.
Yeah, come on, guys. Let's just finish this off. Let's just end this.
The risk of being branded with the dreaded Mary Sue label just because they look like they fit the stereotype. And don't get me wrong,
Because
don't
they
write
do
Mary
fit the
Sues.
stereotype.
They're boring. But maybe we should recognize that Mary Sue hasn't been a perky 15-year-old girl hero with natural highlights and color-changing eyes since 1973, and maybe it's time we updated the model a little for the modern day. So yeah.
Didn't she say earlier that there are derivatives of the Mary Sue?
Yeah, and then
Like the possession
Red,
is already done.
Red, and you can't just end the fucking video on, yeah, maybe we should update that. Then at least, then you wouldn't have needed to fill your video with this this insane, truly insane drivel, this irrational drivel at the end. You could have given us the update that you want so much. Could have put some thought into it. Because this end here, this was irrational drivel. This is insane.
Anyway,
This is what
guys,
insanity looks like.
that was the video. Let's get the stream memes. Who's this from? This is from Gorgeous Rex. Show me true originality and creativity, and that's A New Hope. I said true originality in episode 1. Then we have perfection. The Force Awakens.
I love the googly eyes.
I don't know where this is coming from, but thanks for the meme there, Gorgeous. Oh boy, Market 3D. Gene Roddenberry's original concepts were fine. The Omega Glory. Oh no, his third pilot concept exists.
Listen, like teaching people about the Constitution of the United States and all the good shit that it does, that's a good thing.
Oh yeah, but the problem is he was teaching them grammar, not the actual. They couldn't read. They were saying these bizarre words. Instead of "we the people" was "Utnapishtim" or something like that. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they called it the Eid Plebnista or some shit.
Yeah. It was like, what? How did they get the Constitution of America over there? I don't know. That was funny. My head when watching a Red Trope Talk video. Okay, Eric.
It is a cow dance.
Market 3D, is this narcissism? Something in the video. Everything. Every video has narcissism, guys.
It's mainly the problem with the SJWs, and there are more people, including professionals, catching on to this being a very, very widespread thing in this area of not just politics.
All right, here's Mary Sue. Your decades of training are invalid.
Love the rainbow
monobrow.
The full spectrum of the unibrow. Smudcast talking tropes. Everyone's yelling at each other. Meanwhile, Hawk. What the hell?
Hawk, if you could add me playing Soul Calibur into that, that'd be great.
I'm gonna be honest. I wanted to mute halfway through this video because she was just saying things okay, and I was actually playing Red Dead 2. I was just in a world of my own, just listening to you lot talking. I was like,
Right.
cool.
Bears, if you play Soul Calibur, someday let's have a few matches.
Oh,
What?
this.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's this is George's Rex again.
Blue.
Overly Sarcastic Productions. On the one hand, gold, which I'm assuming is the blue fellow.
That's blue.
Okay. On the other hand,
That's blue.
painful, agonizing failure. Red. I have never watched a blue video.
Blue is not Blue is Blue. I would say Blue is better. He does the history stuff, while she does the mythology, fantasy writing stuff. However, he does the random interjection of political opinions too. It's like fine political video and then fine history video, and then you have this little peek of a stupid political comment, and then it goes on. Like, he does the same thing, but more subtle. But he does the political judgments.
He have an awesome video about the Normans with Shadowversity.
And he does judge the past by his present day morals, and
Stupid.
Which is not good. That's stupid.
Like, you can't judge people like when it comes to like things like slavery. You can't judge that when we have machines. We have like all the fucking convenience in the world. You don't need slaves now. Like back then, you didn't have the wealth to pay people, so you kind of had to just grab them and make them do things so you could build a civilization.
So
it wasn't good.
It is horrible. It is horrible, but in context, people did.
But it's not. It's not general political free ethics. But it is politically slanted morals.
So here's a meme by Hawk about Hawk. Smudcast talking about Mary Sue, and then we have a gentleman lying down on a beanbag chair, I think. But Hawk's thinking of Arthur Morgan. That is one really busy shirt. Holy crap! That's a polo. Is that a sweater?
It's a hoodie.
It's a hoodie. Okay, it looks pretty thick. Yeah.
It's a Red Dead Redemption 2 hoodie. It was from a news article about 69-year-old man plays Red Dead for 650 hours or something.
Wow.
Props to the guy.
If anyone asks me what happened in the video today, yeah, he doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
boy.
Seriously, if anyone asks me something like that, what? Probably.
Get through an entire video without bitching about female oppression or draw 25.
She almost did it. She almost
No,
did it.
she had like 7 minutes and then it just went downhill. She
only 10.
She purposely threw that in there.
Mm-hmm.
She can't not do it.
A Mary Sue who always wins, sacrificing himself. Well, the Mary Sue does sacrifice herself or end in a very tragic way, which is fine.
Heroic sacrifice is always used for Mary
So that's
Sue.
part of the pattern.
Remember that the original Mary Sue in the Star Trek fanfiction, she dies sacrificing herself.
Yep. Yes.
All right, here's Eric again. Trope Talk, Hawk, and he just wants to play Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah.
I mean, he was doing that.
I was literally doing that.
Is this all we're doing? Is Hawk tropes?
Yes, why not?
Tropes. Trope 1 playing Red Dead. Trope 2, there are no Trope 2.
Overly Sarcastic Productions bad. Red Dead Redemption 2 good. Okay.
2 good.
I like the upper head from Matthews.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Bears daydreaming
expression.
during a Trope Talk video.
Wait, what?
Nice meme, butt juice. Try coming up with an original idea and not stealing one of mine.
Oh no, Eric, you just opened the floodgates to more bullying.
Women don't understand jokes. Space Talk.
It's not wrong, badly.
How many times are we hitting on women there, Hawk, to make that statement?
They just don't. They don't understand jokes.
All right.
There's no good female
what
comedians.
the hell is this? This is a man who's very somber looking, and then he's very happy and bright. Looking at my
Thank you. Thank you, Eric. That is very nice.
What the hell?
That's the guy from Breaking Bad, the actor, Hank.
Yeah.
This is Smudbat slapping the piss out of Robin Hawk. Why?
Because I said that you'd slap me for liking Dragon Age 2.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you said. I was like, yeah, I don't remember doing that.
I don't remember slapping you.
I don't remember wanting to slap you.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, okay. Gorgeous Rex. Oh no, you're not Alex Halo. What happened? I'm a cute gothic Lolita maid waitress, sir. What? And Alex Halo's like, yes.
I think.
Is that Alex Halo?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, I get it. You're making fun of Alex Halo. I get it. Okay,
That's okay then.
that's totally normal. Rigby, the grace and elegance of Hawk. Okay.
Pink is not your
I am
color.
great.
Pink's not your color, Hawk.
I've seen worse.
No.
There's definitely worse out there. Yeah.
I've got loads of grace and elegance.
Wanted to make a meme for
that
Gingaman
man
too.
still holds himself with decorum.
I don't know what Gingaman and money have to do with it.
Gingaman
Okay.
is buying Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, it's him on Assassin's Creed. It's just
That
he likes
happened
Assassin's
months
Creed.
ago.
On Ezio Auditore. Oh, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
But that was
Yeah.
months ago, though.
Yeah.
Alex Halo.
That's
There's
fine.
Alex Halo.
But it happened though.
Him. I love you and all your flaws. Me. What flaws? I think that's Gilgamesh. Because everything's
That's
a
Gilgamesh?
fate. Everything's a fate reference. So I don't know who that could be. It could probably be Gilgamesh. I don't know.
He's too Japanese to be Gilgamesh. He needs to be more Sumerian.
Yeah, maybe. Eric again. Everything sucks. Everything sucks everywhere. Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I bypassed the hero's journey. That's great. That's pretty good.
Wonderful.
I like that one. Star Wars fan, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
true.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yo,
Mhm.
Can't argue that. Corporate needs to. Oh.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's always the simple ones that get the biggest laugh.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to argue this, but all right.
Oh my god, Eric, you are proper cranking these out.
I'm Peter, by the way, Ray Skywalker. Oh, we're using our made-up names.
Oh, just imagine being an actor before the Disney trilogy and thinking about having Star Wars on your resume.
What was the original quote? I can't remember the line. I never watched these movies.
I'm Doctor Strange.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And think
It is his
think
name,
about
actually.
actors now having the actors from the Disney movies having Star Wars on their resume.
Oh,
yeah.
Very different feeling.
oh.
Here is
Yeah.
Eric again. Star Wars fans when Baby Yoda uses Force Heal. Oh dear, gorgeous.
Oh yeah, That's when he's like
No, that was
comforting
dumb.
that girl with her souffle.
Mhm.
Souffle.
Star Wars fans when Rey
Mhm.
uses Force Heal. Definitely
You
not.
fucking dunk.
You fucking donkey.
The thing is though, I'm so British. I can hear these pictures. I can hear exactly what accent. I can hear the exact tone of his voice in both those pictures.
Also, I remember people complaining about Baby Yoda using Force healing.
Yeah, but Baby Yoda went unconscious after that happened.
Yeah, poor little guy.
And he didn't heal somebody from resurrecting. It was just closing wounds.
Yeah,
Yes.
scratches.
All right, here is
Yeah.
the end of
Fair
episode
enough.
9, and she's getting hit by lightning because that's a thing. What the hell? And then we have Anakin. That's for burying my lightsaber in the sand, you stupid bitch.
Stupid bitch.
Yeah, well, Force Ghosts can lightning strike now, so let's just get rid of her.
Smud, I have to ask, how do you feel about Anakin Skywalker stealing your catchphrase at the end there?
Yeah.
My catchphrase?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no,
Yeah.
You stupid bitch. Yeah.
there's no
that's
fries in
catchphrase.
there.
Oh.
There's no fries in his hand, so it's not a complete steal.
Yeah.
Like, that's, you know.
I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I was like, okay.
Don't
it's
play
like
dumb
when
with
you
me,
like.
Smud. No,
It's like when
exactly
you
what I'm
copy
talking
something from. It's like when you copy something from Wikipedia and then change a few words so the teacher doesn't know.
about. Mhm.
Okay. Here, think, Ray, think. I am Ahsoka Tano. I fought in the Clone Wars and was trained by Yoda himself and get experience in the battlefield with Anakin and Obi-Wan. The fans love me. How could you defeat me, little piece of Mary Sue?
I
She
wish.
couldn't.
I wish that scene in Invincible happened to Ray.
Mhm.
I'd enjoyed the movie a lot more.
Yeah, it'd be great to have a duel between the two and have Ahsoka just annihilate her.
What I do is on the Council of Sue.
That is the perfect frame from Korra.
All
Yeah,
right.
as well.
Well,
yeah.
it is.
This is from George Kells, the Council of Sue. We got
Purito.
Fucking Kylon,
Twilight characters.
Captain Marvel, Korra, Kirito, Wesley
Mhm.
Crusher, and then yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Why
agree.
couldn't do is on the Council of Sue? He's a kid.
Age is no like limit to being a Mary Sue, like height,
Look,
because we need to be able to.
he's not even a
connect to short
fighter.
people.
He's not a fighter. His story is not about fighting. It's about toying with his cat and his dino toy.
It doesn't matter, Matthias. It just sounds like you're making an excuse for
Here's a video from Rigby
Sues.
on Darth Vader
Yeah,
stopping laser shots.
Yeah. Rigby.
Yeah,
Those are
he's not-
Those are impacting his hand.
Yes, he's stopping. He's not stopping it mid-air and keeping it frozen. He's absorbing it with his armor.
Mm-hmm. See, and that's why Darth Vader's more Chad than Kylo, because he's like, fucking shoot me, I dare you bitches. Look at that, my hands even stop it. You ain't got no chance. Look at these hands, you can't even shoot them.
Here's Gorgeous Rex, Lindsay, and then we have Ellis.
Mm-hmm. I know who I'd rather fuck.
That
I
baseball
never
bat.
played with Alice. I never played with Alice in the Left 4 Dead.
Here we
Ooh,
go.
I
killer!
was watching.
The Mary Sue isn't some perky 15-year-old with natural highlights anymore. I agree. Zero perk. Oh.
Yeah.
Wah wah.
Oh.
Get
Yeah.
bigger tits.
SJWs hate tits. We've known that by now.
Mark. Red is talking. Click. A woman. Christ almighty.
Face.
Oof.
Jeez, Mark.
My face went.
All right. We are. Oh, we got a super chat from Nelson. Nelson the Gentleman. Oh, I've never heard that one before. Thank you, Nelson. Tip OJJ's nose. Oh, let me try this again. Tip OJJ's nose looks like an upside down bellend.
Yeah.
OJ's nose?
The tip of he's trying to compress, save characters.
The tip
So
of J.J. Abrams' nose.
Oh.
Yeah, it looks like a dick upside down, which I agree with.
Mm-hmm.
That is okay. I mean, yeah.
Now don't think about what some chins look like.
Okay.
You mean with the,
I
you mean with the
don't.
cleft? The
I
cleft,
don't-
yeah.
I don't think of these things
Yeah.
upside down, but I can't even try. Like I'm all right. Anyway, thank you guys. That wasn't that long, really. Thanks for staying with us. That was a 6-panel discussion that we stretched out to have some fun with, and that was pretty cool. So always a fun time, and it wasn't that horrible. It just got bad at the end, so that's okay.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
The first minutes of the video, which is actually the bulk of the video, was pretty good.
Yeah. So
And the end fell flat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
sadly, but we've expected that from Red. It's happened lots of times before. So the joys of watching these videos. And that was a short one, so it wasn't that bad. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll keep them going tomorrow. I don't know what we're doing for tomorrow for a video, but we'll figure that out. Keep the voting going. We'll always keep your democratic process going and trying to respect it, but again, it's all up to who's going to join me on certain videos and topics.
Also, next Friday is Renegade Cut Day, and I will find the 5 videos for it.
All right. I was going to bring that up much closer to Friday, but that's fine. We all know it's coming. It always comes. So anyway, thank you so much. Have a great evening, and we'll talk to you real soon.